You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, Peter Kapar of Petree's Workshop, and Braden Boakes of Littlebug Woodworking. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
Welcome to episode 212 of another Woodshop podcast, where we welcome one of the wildest men in the maker community. Started woodworking with a dream in his mind, a supportive wife at his side, and a white claw in his hand, thinking there was only so much to woodworking until he got a CNC and truly saw the limitless possibilities. Now he's restoring furniture like a badass, and you might know him from almost as popular as ours, Beat Around the Bench podcast. Please help me welcome Colton from the Cult Crit. Woo!
There he is.
Woo!
Beat around the bench.
I was like, beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush
I really
bench.
wanted to say bush there.
Pete, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Well, you know who else is, what is it, jacked up on Mountain Dew? Dan?
Who's that?
Our patron,
There we go.
I think. Gentlemen, we have a couple new patrons.
Oh,
we have
snap.
Yosef Chandra from YC Makes and Isaiah from Trails Custom Woodworks.
You.
Thank you, folks, for joining the Matt Army, as we lovingly call it.
They're my new favorites.
Currently, yes.
Just putting it
I
out
agree.
there. They're my new favorites.
The new
You
favorites.
know what my favorites are? All the VIP patrons. And they are as follows. Buckle up. Jared Foster from Foster Designs, Jake Miller from A Sweet Shop, Alex Adams from Type A Furniture, John Herbolsheimer from Living Lath Woodworks, Luke Bosworth, the Boz from LJB Makes, Jared LaPuma from LL Builds Woodworking, Tyler Booth from Temecula Yard Games, Henry Lutens from Manfreda Wood, Richard Don't Twerk, that is still Scotty Holland from Elevated Wood Design, Charlie Coons from Stubby K Studio, Patricia Ginceleraria. I think that's
I like you
Matthew
nailed that.
Abelman. Matthew Abelman. Why are you doing this to me, Matthew? Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks, Sarah with Rosie's Woodshop, Jesse McIntyre from Sage Hill Woodcraft, Michael at Gillette Woodworks, El Jefe from Maker's Way, Wim Designs, that is Victor, all wet and pathetic, still Nick Brim, still wet and pathetic. Max and Ophelia Reed, definitely not Stinky Lists. That is Reed Design Co. Matt Maynard of Patriotic Pines, Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking, Jake Coneen at Dobby's Craft House, Justin Addy from Calvary Customs, Matthias Disabled Man. That is Patrick Ginsel. Ed Mancini from Mancini Woodworking, Scott Shirk from Red Lake Custom Woodworks, Max and Mindy Coons from Stubby K Studio, Justin Bailey from Campfire Woodworks, and Kyle from Four Nances Design Co.
Wow.
Thank you. I had to like take a breath there.
Yeah.
So
Take a sip. This is
thank
actually
you to
spliced
all
from
of our
3 recordings.
patrons. If you want to join the Matt Army and help us out over there, you can go to patreon.com/another woodshop podcast and get signed up over there. If you join the VIP patrons, you get to hear me butcher your name every week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's the best of my ability.
Wow.
And if you sign up for any tier, he'll butcher it once, which is also nice.
At least one.
At least
You'll
once.
get at least one good butchering.
Or if you really
least
want to
one.
show him, re-sign up every 2 weeks. So then he'll have to keep reading it.
Don't
Most people pay extra
Legal
for that.
loophole.
the bricks.
secret 5th tier.
Ooh.
Dan the Butcher. That's kind of got a ring to it. I can go like that.
I'm watching The
don't hate
Boys
that.
right now, so
I
The
don't
Butcher
hate
kind of works with me.
What is that?
Oh, The Boys? It's a great show. It's about superheroes, but they're not good. They're bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You would
Really?
love it, but also hate it. You would hate
Is it-
certain aspects of it.
Is that like?
It's like if
is
the
that, like, on a
Justice League
streaming?
just like it's on Amazon Prime Video, whatever. So you probably have it because we
Never
know
heard
you
of it.
love Prime.
Yeah. We have a guy living in our house right now. He's watching that. So I've by proxy watched a few episodes.
It's like if the Justice League was
Interesting.
just like very bad. It's a
Like
great
it-
show.
You know how like NASCAR, they've got all the brands that sponsor them, like Justice League, but sponsored
Yeah,
NASCAR.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
lost
it's like
me
they
at
brought
NASCAR, I'm gonna be
politics
honest.
to a superhero movie.
Yeah, like imagine if we
Yeah.
were superheroes, we would be wearing we'd all have capes, and the cape might say something like "CNC with me," the product of our favorite man, Mr. Hamilton
Ooh, could I get
Dilbeck.
sponsored by like a tire and wheel company? So like, I
we'll
can get...
we'll work up to that, my guy.
Pete,
I'm
I
joking.
just want to compliment you. That was the smoothest transition into a
Well,
sponsor.
you lobbed it to me. Dan was like, "I'm gonna keep talking." I'm like, "That's the transition."
Oh, I'm not good with transitions.
But
That's
yeah,
fine.
like it's like if they had a bunch of brands on our capes and uniforms.
Brands sponsoring
I rekeyed it.
CNC with me.
There we go.
So yeah,
Beautiful
Hamilton,
alley-oop.
our great friend Hamilton Dilbeck started a site CNC with me, and it's an awesome resource for all things CNC. It is currently Christmas in July, or really it's on the 25th, which I'm hoping that's when my daughter's born. It'd be really awesome to celebrate. But this entire month of July, that's July 1st through the 31st. Fun fact, it's got that 31st day. Yep. It is the holiday themed CNC projects. They're all on sale. You can get over 100 Christmas SVGs, STL files. And they also have this really cool thing. They actually have a CNC Secret Santa. So if you're part of the site, you can actually essentially trade, like you get files from people and like you can trade files. It's pretty cool. I actually like that idea for projects. It's a little less work than, let's say, like actually swapping a project out, like when they do the maker made items at Maker Camp. That's
Right.
The
It's a
maker swap.
Yeah.
sorry, thank you, the Maker Swap. I don't know why I blanked on the name, but make sure to sign up for CNC with me. It's a great community. Dan's been a part of it for he's
I'm a
one of
founder.
the founder,
I'm a
one of the
founding member.
founders of it, and Hamilton's constantly, yeah. Well, he was one of the first people to sign up, so he didn't
Yeah,
found it. He was a founding member.
It's just a nice title, Colton.
Yeah, he
I
just
like it.
He has the founder edition of CNC with me. It's like the Tesla Cybertruck, but with less problems.
It's like he got a Tesla Cybertruck with a low number serial number. It's like '07 or whatever, you know. That's all it is. That's Dan. He's a member like number 7 of CNC with me.
So
But-
the charger's stuck. Yeah.
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 So it's a great resource. Make sure to check it out. If you're ever looking like, hey, what can I make? What would sell? I want to do markets or whatever. Like, sign up. There's tons and tons of files available, videos, and a community that is based around it. So if
It's-
you have questions, it's really great place to learn all that stuff.
It's the community that makes it special. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I checked, there was over 900 members
Whoa,
in this
Ooh.
community.
it's
that's
got
It
more
is.
than we have
It's growing
patrons.
like a weed. It's crazy.
What does he have that we don't?
Good looks, probably. I think.
Oh,
files that can turn into money and help. A lot of
We
help,
have advice that could turn into money or lawsuits.
experience, and skills.
Or lawsuits.
So I don't make the rules.
you say the SVG swap. There's a little Grinch smile in my heart.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's slowly growing. Like, oh
Naughty.
my god.
You just zoom
What
in
would
real
I draw?
close. Like, why does the V-bit keep like going over this one spot? And it's just like tiny little dongs just written out in file.
You read my mind.
Just little secret little naughty things in there.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind
you
of
know-
want to do that on an Etsy.
You know how Dave and
Oh, and Luke did the printer.
Dave
thing?
and Luke
Yeah.
did the random 3D. That's the same thing. It's like, hey, you need to put in 12 inches by 24 inches of 3/4 inch something and run this G
and
code.
walk away.
Just
And
run the
let me run
G-code.
it.
Oh god, I had the wrong bit.
Uh,
It's all gone wrong.
I love it. But guys, make sure to check out CNC with me and go support Hamilton. He's a great guy and he's great to our community. So definitely want to support him. And also, speaking of the Maker Swap, our other sponsor is Maker Camp. We're stacked. Yeah, we're stacked this week. So you guys know we love Maker Camp. We keep talking about it. Cole and us were just talking about it earlier in a pre-show, and how he wants to bring his wife, and it's the event to bring your significant other to. It's super fun. It's super inclusive. They still have yurts available. This year they got yurts. Yurt, not yurt as in like when we were growing up. That's how we would say yes. A yurt as in a small round building.
No.
Yurt.
I thought yurt was when you throw something like into a crowd.
No, that's yeet.
That's a yeet. Yeah, it's a yeet.
Come on, Colt.
Now it's a yurt. So no, they're actually all booked up on hotel rooms. They still have yurts available. They have camping sites and they have RV sites. So there's a couple things that I want to bring up because people now, like, this is the time to be planning. We just booked our Airbnb. We're locked down. We're ready to go. There's a lot of really nice Airbnbs in the area. The yurt's actually a really nice camping solution.
You can't get the one we got.
You can't get the one.
There's a lot of second best Airbnbs.
Second best Airbnbs. Yeah. More like Air CNC, right? Because we got the bees. All right. Dan's gonna choke. But the camping is really nice. It did rain pretty heavily on Saturday last year, so the campsites got a little rained out. But I feel like camping, that's just part of going.
That's not going to happen every year.
Pretty heavily is still like the biggest possible understatement that you could ever have put out for how much rain.
Here's the best part. Yeah. Even with all the rain, it like people were just like, hey, we have a room, we have this. Like everyone just like got into groups and hung out and still exchanged ideas, hung out, and like just had a grand old time. We literally we had like a family dinner with a bunch of makers that just showed up at the house, and Emma was like prepping food and whatnot, and we played GTA and tried to get into base. It was a good time. So even if like, you're not at the event, like you're having a blast. So I highly recommend this event. If you haven't been, if you've never heard of this is the first time you're hearing about it. It is an event based around all things making, from leatherworking, slabbing wood. There's a woodworking tent. There's a blacksmithing tent. Those blacksmiths are going all day. There's a hands-on pass. You can go and just visit for the day. So there's a couple different tiers. You can do the day pass with no hands-on. It's about 20 something bucks a day, and you just walk in, you hang out, you see everyone, you have a grand old time.
Go be a
class.
looky-loo.
Isn't the hands-on is you get to do all of the projects and you have supervision and people help you, and the hands-off is all of the same stuff but completely unsupervised?
I don't
close.
So
it's $25 for the day pass for the hands-off. The hands-on, the maker day pass, is the best one. If you're only going for one day, which at the very least, go for a day if you can. It's $99. It's hands-on. It includes just the entire event. And this is one of those events that like you start in the morning with all the projects, whatever, and it goes to like 2-3 a.m. in the morning. There's karaoke that Dan is super excited about. Mm-hmm. There's good hangout times. Like we just have a blast. And the last pass is the silver pass. It's what we do every year. It's $290 and it covers you for the entire weekend, the entire event. So it starts like loosey-goosey.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Thursday night, people show up. You could technically, on that pass, you could stay.
I mean, officially.
It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's just an absolute blast, guys. It's so much fun. That includes a campsite or an RV site if you want. So it's worth checking out. And the best one you can get is the gold pass. So it actually comes with there's a Sunday barbecue dinner, so you wouldn't have to buy a pass for just that. You can get that. They're smoking brisket and ribs and all kinds of goodies all day.
I'm gonna be honest, they start smoking that stuff on Saturday, and it smells.
My mouth is watering just describing it.
Right.
That's one of the biggest barbecue pits I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's there.
Ridiculous.
But guys, this event is awesome. It's where I learned how to weld and learned a lot of cool techniques from the makers there, and just had a grand old time. And it's a great place to bring your family, your kid. It's becoming like a family event, which I really enjoy. So definitely check that out. And we're going to be giving away 2 tickets this year. We're going to be giving away end of August. So you'll have time to prep. And with that, we're going to be doing a secret code phrase that Dan will drop at some point in the middle of the episode. So
some point during the episode.
So you got to listen to the whole thing.
Absolutely dropping a code phrase.
It's like the Tribe Called Quest. You got to listen to the whole thing.
Another wood shop. Nope. You're going to email
AWP.
us at AWP giveaway at gmail.com.
I'll have it in the show notes.
AWP giveaway.com. Or if you want to text it, DM me and I'll give you Dan's personal cell phone
text
number.
Don't. No. No. Nope. I get enough spammy, stupid text.
The best part,
No.
I mean, I know you learned how to weld, but the thing that I really enjoyed about Maker Camp was I learned to love again. So
Yes,
that is
you will
super
learn how to
important.
love again and learn how to, you know, just have
I
a great
learned how to
time.
walk
I don't
on
know where
water.
I was
And
I
fish
was having
did
a
balls.
lot
walk
of
on
fun
water.
watching
Yeah.
that one develop.
like, I don't know where I'm going with this. But listen, speaking of learning to love someone and things developing and mustaches, Colton is here, my man.
Do you
Mm.
believe in life
No,
after Colton?
How do you do, sirs?
So-
Go ahead.
Colt, you know, this is how we introduce everyone. Please give us like the elevator pitch. Who the hell do you think you are?
Who the hell? Oh, man. Oh, woodworking. Well, wait, so go back like 8 years ago.
Subtle start.
Here we go.
Yeah, woodworking.
And then I was born. And let me tell you from there.
I know. Here with two of my favorite people. Here we go.
Wait,
Oh, and wait.
I'm just kidding. They're all my favorites. No, about 8 years ago, man, I got into woodworking not because of a love of wood or love of any of that. It was about I really desperately wanted to be like financially independent, and I really wanted to have a direct to consumer business, right? And I had this ridiculous product in my mind. I could not get out of it. Could not get out of my mind. And someone told me about a CNC router to try it out, and so I got the Inventables 1000mm, right? And then from there, I realized I could cut wood and all this stuff, and kind of spiraled in from there, man. And about 3 years ago, I went full time with the woodworking. I had just enough backlog to pay for like 2 months of my mortgage in the shop, and which is in hindsight not enough for anyone listening there considering jumping. And
I call that gambling.
yeah, yep. And
That's Russian roulette. That's what that is.
It's Russian roulette.
it is. Well, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'll figure it out. I mean, but sure enough, in those 2 months, it actually started on TikTok. I was making some process videos, right? And I was making this ridiculous cornhole board for a buddy that was like inlaid resin and like backlit with LEDs and all this. And it just went nuts on TikTok, and people started asking to buy it. And I was like, oh, sure. And I did no research and didn't look into my cost of materials or anything. I just slapped a price on it that sounded high enough. Lo and behold, it was not, but I had sold a ton of them to that. And so I've been climbing out of that hole for like the last few years. And which
Wait,
led.
how deep of a hole was that?
Oh, you want like numbers? Or I mean,
No,
it
well,
was just like, okay,
how-
so I thought I had sold 4 months worth of work, right? I was like, is this like middle of summer? And I was like, oh, we'll be done by Christmas. No, it was 2 years later, wrapping up the few stragglers on the end.
Oh,
And which actually, no, that's not exactly true. I did a few other round of sales after that, but yeah, it's a lot of hard lessons. I don't regret it at all by any means. It's some good hard lessons. But yeah, so money does still need to come in, even though it's already sold. So what was it about 2.5 months ago? I had the opportunity through a buddy of mine to start working with a furniture repair outfit, and
like
that's
restorations, right?
yeah. And which we do a little bit of everything. Like we'll create artwork, and then on the restoration side, like everything from like grand pianos to grandfather clocks to obviously normal wooden furniture. And yeah, it's been really cool to bring like kind of like my creative side with like just making whatever the hell I want to now more industrializing it, I guess you could say. And doing it on a more professional level. I have had to learn a lot more about finishes, like lacquer. I could talk for the next 3 hours about lacquer.
Dan's favorite.
And
Tell
You
me
would drink
more,
it if you could.
Daddy.
yeah, dude,
Daddy.
Dan, I saw your reel about what is it? Whenever you get
Oh,
was
the,
it fixing?
the cloudy lacquer?
Yes, and like putting
Yes.
just oil on it, and because like I watched that right after a day of having to respray this desk that was just giving us hell. And I watched that and I was like, I swear to goodness, if I could do the shop and it's that easy, I'm gonna hurt
easy,
someone.
man.
And
that
That's
easy.
simple.
yeah. And but yeah, man. So it's been a ride. It's been a ride. Got involved with the maker community. I guess we're working on the second year. This will be my second year to go to Maker Camp, actually. And I hope to never ever miss that again.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I started with Workbench Con, but I will say that Maker Camp is what I wanted or the reason why I go to Workbench Con is why I go to Maker Camp. And it's the community. And yeah.
Well,
makes
that's
sense.
the maker event. Workbench Con is a content creator event in a maker community. So it's if you're just a maker and you just want to meet like-minded people, that's the one, man.
Yeah, Workbench
just-
Con, the hobby is the hotel lobby is my home, man.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Preach.
I just want to say my very, very first time meeting Colton, we bonded over cornhole boards, and we were talking about
nerds.
I know, just nerds. And we were talking about this
Yard games, baby.
this backlog of orders, and so we get into it, and he's like, "Yeah, I went full time. I sold a bunch of orders, and I've got this backlog." And we started talking. He's like, "Yeah, I've got 48
That's where
orders
that idea
from
came from.
Christmas," and this is in March. He's like, "Yeah, I still have 48 orders to do." Maker Camp followed up hey, how are you doing on those Christmas orders from last year? He's like, "I've got 49 orders to do." I did another round and now I'm just working for free. So it's a core memory for me of Colton is great at selling his product, but he's just the worst project manager.
He's
YOLO the man.
I need a business partner who is just stressed out all the time, to balance, be my yin yang,
He needs both a yin and a yang. He's just the little dots in the middle.
You make it clear that you're not stressed out. You're just I'll take it on. Whatever. I'm not stressed out. Just having a good time.
They'll get them when they get them. They already paid for them. What are they going to do?
No, I've given a lot of refunds, but no, I carry around a lot of guilt, not to get negative with that, but from all that. But I feel like people who spend $1,000 on a set of yard games are typically overall good people, or cool people, right? Very few Karens. No
they're
offense,
not
if
nickeling and
anyone's
diming you. They're
wives
not
are-
yeah, we've talked about this. So the customer that's
That leads me into
invoice is paid.
That leads me into my next question. How do you find the clientele
Yeah.
to spend $1,000 on a set of cornhole boards?
So you got
TikTok shop.
You got to throw a wide net, right? And so
Right.
I know Etsy's been really good for a lot of people, right? I'm not a huge fan of Etsy, man. I feel like, at least from the stuff that I researched, people just
I'm on Etsy. I'm not a huge fan of Etsy.
People beat the heck out of each other on pricing on there, all the time. I'm sure I'll have it too. Customers will show me something they want me to build, and it's from Etsy, and I'm like, how the heck is that priced right there? And I do know a lot of that time is because it's their base product, which is not what the picture you're looking at is
Right.
that price.
You can add on to it. That's a game that people play on Etsy.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I cast a wide net via social media, man, and I try to make my process videos real catchy, right? And never long, 1.8 seconds about for each process, each step. And then from there, I just point people to my website, which I built that through Shopify, and it was pretty easy. To build. It wasn't too bad. So sold it all through the website. So not dealing with TikTok shop or any other parties.
Well, I love that because I've run into people that will say "Oh, that's so great, but I could never sell that for that price in my area." No, you can't if you don't try.
Mm-hmm.
You have to at least try. And I really despise that excuse so much. Because I ran into that in the photography world, and I run into it now in the woodworking / making community. That price will never work in my area.
It's just such a cop out. Yeah, it's just such a cop out.
That's the bigger net.
Yeah, and
it's a huge cop out.
I always hear everything. I'm sure every woodworker ever hears this from their customers. It's like, oh, I'll introduce this to my friends and we'll blow you up and get you all this work. And I'm always like, yeah, of course. But
I can pay you
in
an
my head, I'm like,
exposure.
I gotta get this in front of thousands of people before one person buys it.
Yeah.
It's a niche product at its price, at least.
I tried to pay my mortgage and exposure once, and I was promptly escorted out of the bank.
Well, it reminds me of those C tables that I make that I call slide tables. They're really just 3 planks of wood that are put together with box joints. Nothing fancy, but I charge $375 for them on Etsy. And I get people all the time telling me, how do you get away with selling those? That's so stupid. That's crazy expensive. I can make it myself. Yeah, well, go do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I still sell plenty of them.
Yeah.
The people are out there.
You're going to get to bump that price point up to 400 when you rename it the Seattle.
I don't know if I'm renaming.
But
Colton, your cornhole boards they're phenomenal. I need you to go into more detail about, like, you just say like, oh, these yard games. These things are phenomenal. Like they blow my mind in how cool they are. Tell me a little bit about your cornhole boards.
Yeah, dude, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll tell you about my cornhole.
Oh, please.
Hey,
I'll get the bleep ready.
Yeah, what is it? So yeah, I mean, we take just a sheet of 1/2-inch birch plywood and I carve it down about 0.49 inches, maybe 0.492.
Heyo.
And just enough where there's some on the back, and then pour resin in there, right? And I'm actually doing like a tabletop resin.
So you keep a little layer in the bottom, like you keep some skin in there. Okay.
Yeah, and if the CNC does happen to push through, we have to put a backing on there. But basically say that I inlay resin, right? And at another step in the process, we remove that back layer so it's clear through resin, right? And then we, on the frame below, engineered a little way to put an LED strip, right? And so yeah, it's basically a cornhole board with a custom logo in the middle that lights up and resin. And yeah, I haven't had a project I've said no to yet as far as a logo, and I've had a lot that I probably should have said no to. But
I remember you doing that too, right? You used to CNC like almost all the way through. You'd pour epoxy in. Dan, I feel like, oh, did you used to do that? You've done epoxy jobs where you like poured, you CNC'd most of the way through and then poured epoxy in there. I thought you did that once.
Braden.
I was doing a lot of
oh, you were doing that
a lot of pass-through epoxy stuff, and that's how
maybe Dan copied you in a video, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I don't think so.
Dan and I just hold hands and do every project together anyway.
We do.
So it all counts.
We do. I said do. We do.
That's really smart. You don't have to tape up. You don't have to use a form, and it's a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, the first few, not more than a few, like prototypes of this idea, like, yeah, they did not go well. We've had a lot of tuning throughout the years.
A lot of R&D. The R&D department just we put super glue on a bee.
Yeah. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, honestly, it's not a great manufacturable product. There's so many little bitty niblet things that can go wrong. And like trying to expand it and bring on employees and all this, at the end of the day, it's an artisan project, and like 2 great woodworkers can make the same board in the same style, and they're going to look different. And like, yeah, it's been a rush the whole way. So
I'm going to say it. I think that that's a cop-out answer, because I think that you have explained your process to me. You have the process figured out, and that is something that I know for a fact. You could teach somebody to do that. And you could bring on somebody to help you with production. And you're one of the very few people that I look at and I have the same exact feelings as I do when I talk to Dan. You need to bring on help, because you're bottlenecking your business by trying to like control your production, because you guys can totally teach somebody to do it. So you guys are both in the same boat, whether you like it or not.
So, Braden, I have something to add to that. I actually do have somebody making my boards for me right now, or like these last few straggler boards, right? He's the guy who came on. He was the first guy who worked with me. Tony. He's with Tony Woodworks. He was at. I convinced him to go to Workbench Con this last year, actually. At but he's one of the only guys I've met that has like the patience to like locally that I've met that has the patience to do it. But he's coming from the complete other side. Everyone else, I'm like trying to bring up quality, right? And with Tony, I'm having to tell him like, man, we can't hand sand each leg of these cornhole boards to 220, right? Like at a certain point, like it's too far. It's not a table, but yeah. So we're experimenting right now actually with that. And I'm paying him per board. So like he can figure it out. We don't have to worry about hours. And I hope it works out. It should work out. We just started like last week and a half, which there was a good bit of training in the shop. And I think he has it. Like, I think he's going to figure out some of the issues on his own. And
And is your wife still assisting you with the back end?
No. Well, first off, she changed jobs about a year ago, and her new job is with a startup, and so she is strapped on time too. Yeah. Like we have some house projects that we're working on. Like we have a lot of doors without trim on them right now, and
none of my trim is painted, man. It's on, but it's not painted. I know the feeling.
Hey,
I'm like, baby, I'm gonna get to it. You don't have to remind me every 6 months, okay?
Yeah,
like,
you don't need to nag me every 6 months about
It's
it.
kind of rude that you keep doing it.
Hey, they sell pre-primed trim for a reason. As long as you're okay with white, that primer, it's a good 50 foot paint job.
Yeah.
It'll work just fine. Don't worry
funny.
about the nail holes.
We did get some of that pre-primed MDF, man. Yeah, we have some of that hanging up right now, unpainted actually. So
It's technically painted. It's primed.
Amazon Prime.
Prime is paint.
Well, look at
Okay.
that. I'm proud of both of you guys. Look at this. The two guys that I'm always worried about not getting enough help and not letting people help you, both have help.
yeah, Dan,
What a world, what a topsy-turvy world we're living in.
I know. Dan, you got a guy in your
Also-
shop, huh?
It's a just summer help, little high school kid.
When he shows
he's
up.
He's the son of a friend of mine.
I
Dude,
have
that's-
seen that high schooler. He is not little. He is huge.
He's kind of ripped.
He's a big old boy.
He's
Well,
in
he's
high
not
school,
big.
so
He's
he can
corn
eat anything
fed.
he wants and still be ripped. Yeah.
How big a boy are you?
He's quite a bit of help actually. It's crazy. Like he was here yesterday for a good 2.5, 3 hours. He puts in like 2-3 hours a day, and I swear I got like 4 times more work done during that 3-hour period than I do by myself on a full day.
Dude, it's the
Right?
body double
Yeah,
effect.
that's-
Like
it's
having
it.
a
It's
body
body
double.
doubling.
Yeah, you're so much more productive when someone's there with you.
Yeah.
Judging you.
Except when it's someone that like you feel fully comfortable with, because then
I
you
think
just
it's
F off.
mostly
like when
because-
Braden's there, forget it.
Excuse me, I'm yawning. I think it's mostly because like I don't want him to perceive me as a lazy piece of crap.
Yes,
So like
yeah,
I'm running around.
I can
Exactly.
100% relate to that. Anytime
Dude.
someone's in the shop with me, I work like 6 times as much because I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
and you
look
don't
at
think
me.
I'm like
I'm
big
productive
time.
and I do things.
I'm going to teach this kid good work ethic so he doesn't turn out like me.
Me? Oh no!
Hey, Dan, on like the Sophie side of that too, you're handing down, I'm sure, a lot of information about
yeah.
woodworking, and you could be starting like a passion for this guy, like
Yeah,
or gal.
possibly. I mean, he was sharing Snapchat photos of the stuff he was working on yesterday. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude.
He's
So
he's
maybe
gonna
he is
Can't
excited
tell
about
if
it.
Dan's just being old and using Snapchat as a verb for any kind of TikTok or whatever.
I don't
or
do the
he would-
Snapchat.
Were they
He-
actually on Snapchat?
he
No, it was
snoot
Snapchat.
shooting. This kid is going to learn how to make an end grain cutting board, and he's going to start showing like girls, and he's going to, yeah, I made this with my hands. Dan's teaching this kid to pick up chicks.
Oh,
Possibly.
That's right.
Yeah.
No wonder he doesn't have
Hopefully
time to
Alex
work.
doesn't listen to
He's
this.
busy doing other things.
This kid's going to give himself a clapped out like old pickup truck as his first vehicle, and he's just going to be cruising
already
looking for the
got that.
Midwestern
He's already got
girls.
that.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Is it a
Yeah.
Ford fucking Ranger?
Yes. Yes.
See,
is.
Dan's trying to get him to make cornhole boards. Meanwhile, he's cornholing bras. All right.
No, legit. He's got a Ford Ranger. It's,
He's gonna-
Does he
he's gonna
really?
start- He's
yeah,
gonna
it's
start
a,
his own
it's a
business
white
called-
step side Ford Ranger, man.
You
It's
have a
baller.
type.
Ooh.
Dude, Dan, so people have always told me, like, hey, go find a high schooler, right? Or maybe a couple, especially during the summer, and get them
Work
to work
on
with you. And but when I showed up to the high school with my van and it said free woodworking on it, like they kicked me out. They told me I couldn't come back. The lawsuit's still in the air. Yeah.
Luckily, he's the son of a really good friend of mine, so it was a pretty easy like grab.
Nice.
My buddy's like, yeah, he can come work with you.
I didn't even
fight
have to
you too
pick him up
hard,
in a
yeah.
van. He just drove himself.
They didn't have to offer the candy. That's good.
Yeah, you got to strike a
candy,
balance
no
between
candy.
like a smart kid and then just a dumb kid. You got to get him, so he
Heck
he
yeah.
just shows up by himself.
Dude, Peter, I got a question for you. It's off the
Uh-oh.
wall,
Oh,
but
Lord.
I'm dying.
8
All right.
inches.
So you the pre-question. You listen to music in your shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Polish mostly.
What's
Yeah, a
your
lot of
what,
polkas.
what's your go-to, man? What are you turning on? Like you're trying to spark it, man. What are you doing?
I am all over the place. I have no like it'll be anything from like old school hip hop to rock to pop to Taylor Swift to whatever. Like
EDM,
I
the death
lit-
metal.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
only thing I can't do is country rap.
Get out of here.
Stop it. Stop.
Gosh, settle
Country
down.
stars shouldn't be rapping. I'm sorry. That's the one thing I'll put my foot down on. But I'll do
Oh,
country. And
I agree with that, but like,
yeah.
What about Jelly Roll? He's kind of in the middle,
90s.
huh?
But no, it's lately it's been more like a lot of podcasts and audiobooks. Just been
Ooh.
cranking out audiobooks. I'm an
I
audiobook
want
guy.
to.
Nice.
I want to jump in on this.
All right.
I want to like Jelly Roll. His music is good,
You don't like his jelly roll?
but his rolls are no.
It's the face tattoos. How's he ever gonna get a job?
Oh, God, when I say this, I feel like I'm gonna alienate a bunch of listeners.
Oh,
But like his
no.
music is too like religious based for me.
That didn't go the direction I don't know where I
Yeah,
thought it was gonna
so-
go, but
I
it
get
wasn't
that.
there.
That's all right.
He's got
Yeah.
great music though. He's got
Oh,
a song with he's got a song he does with Eminem on Eminem's new album.
Yeah.
At the end of the album, what's it called? Save Me, maybe?
Wait, actually,
It's
I
a
don't
good
know
song,
about that one.
Actually,
Oh yeah, he dropped a new album.
it's one of the last songs on the album. It's good.
Oh,
good
dude,
song.
I gotta check it out.
Eminem sings the entire song like normal, and it's just Jelly Roll at the end, just going, Jesus.
Oh, so he does the DJ Khaled just going, yeah, another one,
Another one.
another one. Well, so like, all right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of listening to things in the sorry,
In the
listening
shop.
to things. I'm having a stroke. I'm sorry.
Are you okay,
Listening to
Pete?
things in the shop. You have a podcast. So some of our listeners have probably heard
Oh,
your
yeah.
voice on a podcast. How did that come about?
Tell us about Beat Around the Bush Bench.
Hold
Beat
on
around the
before
bush
you,
bench?
before you do it.
Oh,
Before
wait.
you do it. Last song on the album, song number 19. It's called "Somebody Save Me."
Okay.
Eminem and Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll
it's
does
probably
save
a
him.
cover on Jelly Roll
Yeah,
song.
it's a mix
Somebody
between Jelly.
save me.
Yeah. It's a good song. It's actually really
Yeah.
good. All right,
Oh,
go
nice.
on. Tell us
So,
about
yeah.
your podcast.
About-
Oh yeah,
podcast.
dude. So not this year, Workbench Con, the year before, right? That was my first year getting on Workbench Con, right? And what was it? We were at a dinner just with like two guys I met at Workbench Con, and we had a good conversation. And I was like, you know what? Let's start a podcast, bro. And we did, and we enjoy it, man. So what? I guess we're on episode 65 now of Beat Around the Bench. And dude, I don't care if a single freaking person listens to it. It's like therapy to me, man.
Oh, I
Like
get
I got these two guys, these really experienced woodworkers Ross with RNC Woodworking and Design, and then Jess with Jess Build It. Ross is up in Chicago. Jess is over in Florida. I'm down in Houston. And yeah, we just do a Zoom call basically once a week and work through everything. Yeah.
I know the feeling. I can relate.
Sounds super
This is
familiar.
therapy.
The whole story, actually.
Yeah. And it's so much fun. I don't know. Like I want to make sure someone learns something every week, right? I think most podcasts do.
Okay, you
Right?
lost me there.
We hope someone learns something from us, but
It's the same lesson every week. Don't start a podcast.
Don't start a podcast.
don't be like
Don't-
these guys.
Don't drink in your shop.
A lot of cautionary
Stuff
tales.
like that.
You said don't drink in your
Yeah,
shop?
it's mostly cautionary.
What?
Don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't drink
there's
too
only-
much in the
you're not
shop.
supposed to be drinking Malort seltzers while you're, working a CNC.
We're putting in the risky research so you don't have to.
There you go.
Case studies.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I have cut down the drinking in the shop, but I will tell you what, whenever you are worried about a whole bunch of orders and analysis paralysis, y'all familiar with that term?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like there's just
Yes.
so much going on at the same time. Like
Preach to me.
a beer helps with that. I'm not trying to promote drinking here,
No,
but
no.
A
I try not to
beer
drink while I'm
or
running like
9.
power tools, like table saws, bands, whatever. Like that's not happening while I'm drinking. If I'm sanding or if I'm cleaning the shop at the end of the night or the laser's running, I might be a little
Yes.
more lenient.
It's
I
stuff
agree
where
with
your
that.
hands are not in the way.
Only
Yeah.
if you're sanding
Yeah.
past like 220. You start sanding at like 80 or lower. You gotta be careful.
You're gonna
of
cut
that.
your hands
You gotta be careful of that.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
I
My
sanded
brother
my
cut
face
his
off.
finger. My brother cut his finger pretty deep with my sander and some 80 grit.
That's just user error. I'm
Ooh.
sorry.
No,
I don't know.
I've had that happen. Sometimes it like gets under the, it's like right at
But
nail
he did it
level.
like within like 10 minutes of sanding, didn't he?
Yeah.
Hey,
Like
but
he was
with
like,
the-
I'd rather go to the ER right now than do this for
To
any
be
more
fair,
time.
to be
to
fair,
be fair,
To be fair.
my brother is deaf,
Dan doesn't get that one.
but he can't
Oh, really?
can't hear machines going. And he was using my Merca sander that has the paddle on it, and he didn't realize his hand was on the paddle, and it was still going, and he nicked his hand like he was when he was still holding it. So
you Nick,
that's how that happened.
He just brimmed it. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
brimmed all
He
over
brimmed
the
it.
place.
Brimmed his hand.
dude, I actually had my worst shop accident to date. About a few months ago. I got lazy and had a like a 2 1/4 inch like Forstner bit. Right, should have went and put it on the drill press. No, I put it on a drill. This is a hand drill,
Oh, okay.
and then I was just
We've all
drilling
done
Hold
this.
it in your hand.
I was trying to make a quick holder for something, and so I had like some 1/2 inch Baltic birch plywood, and I didn't even clamp the piece down. I was holding the piece with my left hand, drilling it with my right, and that Forstner bit caught, and it ran across the board, and then whack swipe on along my thumb,
Oof.
and then up the top. I don't know, you can kind of see the scarring a little bit there,
Yeah.
but
Oh.
it looks. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Honestly, I should have got stitches. It'd be a lot less ugly right now if I had. But
I think
yeah.
you may be the only person on the planet that has injured themselves with a Forstner bit like that.
Really?
Probably.
Really do.
I don't know.
I think that's
I
unique.
didn't-
I think
I
that's
didn't
unique.
see the story going with the Forstner bit walking across the piece.
Neither did I.
I thought for sure he's like, I'm gonna hold it in my hand. If I aim it, I can shoot the gap
just-
in my fingers,
Oh.
and it'll be.
Oh no,
fine.
I was thinking that the wood would spin and got like jammed and
Yes,
started
you
spinning
and
and
I
hit.
are on
Yeah.
the
Because
same
we've
page,
all
yes.
done that. Or the drill spins.
We've all racked ourselves with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
the old double wrist breaker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no,
the wood
whenever-
spins and it takes out your spleen. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. I have an analogy for running table saws and like table saw safety, right? It's like drunk driving, right? So everyone's
do it.
about
Don't
lot
do
of
two
do it.
things wrong at the same time.
drive
But no,
sober,
no.
pull over.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about running table saw drunk. I'm saying it's like drunk drive, right? Like, what is it? Everyone's driven after a beer, maybe, right? But then after you do it with a beer, like maybe you're comfortable with 2 beers, and then if you're not keeping yourself in check, you're not keeping the fear of getting a DUI or hurting somebody in your vehicle or cutting your finger off on the table saw. It's whenever you lose the fear,
I
right?
make
That
enough
you get
mistakes
busted.
sober. I don't need to make mistakes drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff we've got in the shop just absolutely terrify the shit out of me, like all the time.
Yeah.
I had a
it's
router
whenever you
table
lose that
accident that I was
fear.
like,
Yeah.
for like 6 months, I didn't use a router table. I was like, nope, I don't need this. Nah, it's fine.
Which is ironic because that entire documentary, Talladega Nights, teaches you that you need to get over the fear. You need to drive past the fear.
Documentary, yes. Yeah.
Goddamn cougar in the car.
Yeah, if you can run a table saw with a cougar, you're fine. You can do anything.
You ain't first, you last.
No, I can relate to that because I made a mistake and possibly like almost took off my finger on the jointer once, and I didn't touch that thing for like months.
Yeah, Dan.
I think that is a under what's the word I'm looking for?
Terrified.
Underappreciated.
No, underestimated. It's an underestimated tool. People think the joiner is so safe. Like you're literally pressing down against the part that's the
yeah. That could ruin your whole week. That machine. It could do some damage.
Yep, I bought a drum sander from a woodworker with who gave you a 3.5/5 on his right hand.
Oh no,
from a joiner.
From the drum sander.
Yeah, joint man, they're all dangerous. See, I gotta call out Dan though, because 2 days ago he gave me, Nick, Emma, Braden a heart attack with, don't you just love it when someone texts you, "I'm on my way to the ER."
That's it.
Why? Say more. Don't just say that.
I was
like,
hoping
I'm
you wouldn't. I was hoping you wouldn't bring this situation up.
You don't have to go into too much detail, but Dan is fine. Nothing happened. Just something unrelated.
It was not shop related. It was
just gas. Just gas.
Like when you're a woodworker and you get that text from a friend, I had my heart in my freaking throat. I was like, no. What happened? Like I just went to the like worst case scenario, and it ended up being something like, all right, he was okay, like it's fine, he's getting it treated, like whatever. We're not gonna go there. It's it just don't scare your friends like that, Dan.
I was on my way, and my wife was like, "You should probably tell your friends that."
Yeah, that's the part that bothered me was he was on the way and he was like texting us just out of the blue.
I called him immediately. I went old school. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we were just having conversation, and then oh yeah, by the way, I'm on the way to the ER. What? And then he just stopped texting, just completely stopped. I thought he did. I thought he was dead. I thought he died.
And then I had to update the group. Like, this isn't my place to say, but I need you guys to know so we're not all crying tonight.
And then an hour later, he just like picks up the conversation again, just like keeps going, just keeps talking.
So anyways, the liberals, am I right?
He just sends a random TikTok.
I know, but like, don't scare your friends. Because like, guys, if I ever texted you like, well, I'm headed to the ER, like you guys would be like, he cut off his finger. Like that's the first place you go as a woodworker and woodworker friend. You need like
you guys got to realize I'm old and I'm just gonna go to the ER.
You forget
his body is just at that point where it just falls apart a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some routine maintenance, oil change.
Yeah. Listen, going for oil change.
We all do a hobby that's very dangerous and very sketchy, and a lot of us are self-taught. Like that's the scary thing. Like we did teach ourselves. We learned safety from watching videos and whatever, but like it's not like we.
God, I hope nobody learns safety from watching my videos.
They do, Dan. They do. You're an example to thousands of paraplegics.
I say that a lot. Like I say it a lot, and usually talking about the laser because that's laser sounds cool, but when I'm talking to people that aren't in the in the community. My joke is just a running joke of they just sell this stuff to anybody just off the internet. Like you don't need a license. You don't need a class. You don't need somebody to make sure that you've got it set up right. Like they just send it to you. And these things are spinning at like thousands of revolutions per minute with blades of death attached to them. And they're just like, yeah, you figure it out. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
OSHA's not inspecting garages. Yeah.
Although the same thing also with U-Haul, like you can rent stuff that you normally would need a CDL.
Scary.
You're just like, whatever,
So
$19
that's
an hour.
the scariest
baby.
one, man.
Oh my Lord. Get out on there on the
man.
open road. Just feel the wind in your hair.
Oh, but that's a good point, Braden.
47-foot
Don't-
box truck.
But Braden, you're right. Like, don't underestimate the tools that we don't think about. Like lasers. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people using like diode lasers that should have some kind of light protection barrier around it, and they're just like looking at it, and I'm like,
How many
You're
phones
gonna
out
go
there have
blind.
been burned?
Dan literally burned his phone with a laser. But even with the CNC, like you don't think like it's running. There's dust collection. Like it's if you're in like a tight shop, a small 1-car shop, and you got a CNC running, like you need some like dust extraction, like real dust extraction. Or if you're standing in front of it watching it, put a mask on. You know, like you need like the dust is gonna hurt you. It's a slow and painful thing. And like I'm very conscious of my eyes, and I just got a fiber laser, and like it's got a green window on it, so I'm like I don't want to burn this thing without like it closed. So if it's open, I want glasses on, or I just want to be looking away. Like I'm treating it like it's a welder. You know, just
you're saying don't keep your eye on the ball. Yeah,
don't keep your eye on the ball.
Light.
Yeah. Hey, a quick little nugget. So as far as like dust, like ambient air dust, I got the air filtration system.
Yeah. The big box thing that you hang off the ceiling.
I got the biggest one they have. It was not that much. It was like $300, maybe less. And it is a game changer.
Those are great.
It
This
just
kind of
feels better.
filtration system is very, very important.
No, even when I'm running laser and it gets all smoky in there, like running that will circulate the air and kind of move it around.
He got the
Those
biggest
things
one.
are clutch. Even in like I have one, but I only use it in the winter when I have the doors shut all the time because it's so damn cold outside. So in the summer, you know, the doors are open always, and I have fans blowing and stuff. But yeah, those things are clutch in the winter.
I use it just to move air in my shop, even if the door is open. Sometimes just to move the air around a little bit. But man, that filter catches that. You have Dan. You have the same one as me, right? The Laguna one.
Yeah, we have.
That thing's nice because the dual filter, so nice.
Yeah.
Filter.
It's like a kind of, it's not a bag, but it's like shaped like a bag, so it catches big stuff, and then it's got a filter on it as well. So I actually have to clean mine. It's probably in rough shape.
I actually cleaned mine not that long ago.
Well, you know what's funny? When I get lazy for cleaning it, like I'll just look up and see that like on the initial filter for the air filtration system, it's clogged up, so I just blow it.
Yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
Totally defeating the purpose.
But here's the thing: you blow it out, and then what do? I turn on the thing to have it clear the air in a shop. So some settles, some goes right back in the filter.
Oh yeah, man,
I feel that way every time I clean out my dust collector with the HEPA filter.
Yeah,
like, oh, you did a great job, little man. And you go outside and you beat the hell out of it, and you blow all the micro dust out of it, and you breathe it in. And you're like, oh well.
Put your head in just to look and see. It looks clean in there.
You get like a year or 6 months of HEPA filter catching right in your lungs, like a big hit. Just a booster shot. That's it.
The dust's so fine, it's like powdered sugar.
Yeah.
That fine. That makes you sneeze for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh yeah. Oh, the worst.
Speaking of PPE, I learned something today. So my next door neighbor is a firefighter, and he's been growing the firefighter mustache. Just
of course,
because
it's required actually, by law.
And he told me, and his family of firefighters, and he's like, yeah, it used to be like back in the day, firefighters would grow mustaches because they would wet them before they would go into a building, and it would actually capture some of the smoke and keep it from being breathed in. So all of us, built-in PPE, baby.
It used to actually be more than just the mustaches. They would actually go like some would have beards. But the thing is, they only let you keep mustaches now so that the mask can seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is all like.
Also, they look hella sexy on a calendar. Am I right?
Yeah. This is all baloney.
Shiver me timbers.
This is all.
It is. It is.
It's true.
Like he was telling the story, and he's like, yeah, and this guy that I was telling it to said it was a lie. He's like, I know my whole family, like for generations, firefighters, like so it's apparently a real thing, or he said it very convincingly.
Mustaches are a real thing. Dan, you can grow one if you really try.
I know mustaches are a real thing. I don't know about the firefighter bit though.
Oh, it is. It is.
I'm calling BS.
Mustaches are secretly government drones.
Yeah,
like
they're
birds.
They're like birds.
They're just like birds.
Well,
there's a subreddit.
You don't choose the mustache. The mustache chooses.
Mustaches are fake.
Well, speaking of fake government recordings, we should probably listen to some voicemails because we're already over an hour and changing. Well, I think we should just go right into because I don't think we have time for what's on the bench.
We're gonna skip our benchy.
Well, I don't actually wait. Didn't we like talk for a half hour before we even started?
We talked for a
Talked for
long
like
time.
20 minutes before we started recording.
Okay.
We were half an hour deep. So
In that case,
hit him with the
What's on my
remix.
bench?
there you go. So,
All
Dan, why don't we start with you? What's on your bench,
Why
Dan?
are you always starting with
Braden, what's on your
Okay,
bench, man?
Oh, that's fine.
You guys can find it out.
Is it good or bad? Dan?
While Braden's talking, I'm gonna go to the restroom and get another drink.
Okay, Dan.
I know what he
Tiny
does.
bladder
Dan's
again.
Dan's got a potty break on his bench. I am super excited. I'm kicking it back into gear. I've been taking the last couple weeks and like taking it easy. I mean, every single week I've talked about like I'm not taking commissions. I'm just doing some stuff for me. Now, total 180. Like I am flying. I realized that I committed to creating some stuff wholesale for a friend of mine. His wife was diagnosed with cancer, like the cancers. She got a group deal, buy two get one free on cancer types. Which
That's
I
a terrible
am
sale.
I'm minimizing because humor is how I deal with stress.
Sure.
But I feel really bad because she's wonderful. Like I love these guys. So my friend Kurt, who her husband, does not sit still well. He immediately starts a nonprofit, sets up a massive car show that's based, and his business is like car detailing. He knows a lot of people in the car world. Sets up this massive like 3-block section of this industrial park is all now designated for a huge car show. It's going to have like 300 car spaces. And so he reached out to me earlier in the summer. He's like, hey, I'd love to sell some stuff. You know, you can make a bunch of stuff. I'll pay for it. I'll buy it wholesale. And then that way, you know, we can make some money, but you don't lose money. And I told him, of course, absolutely. I'll whatever you want. And so now I realized it's not, hey, that's in several months. It's, hey, that's in literally, it's the 18th of August. I have 1 month. I should start on this stuff. So I've been working on a bunch of 3D.
It's officially the 19th here in Jersey, so you're already behind. Less than a month. Sorry, bud.
Luckily I go off Hawaiian time, so I got a couple more hours.
All right.
There we go.
Braden, if you just keep moving west,
Yeah, just keep going around the
they'll never
globe.
get you.
If I get, yeah, I'm gonna hit Japan and just be like, ha,
Yeah, but
back
you
in time.
really
baby.
want to make those with Japanese hand tools?
No, I don't have nearly the detail orientation for that kind of building. But anyway, so I've been working on some 3D CNC carving. Like I've just been chucking my
3D
Dan scraps. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've been designing American flags because, you know, car people, they just love their trucks and their America. So I've been making American flags that are wavy. And then I've been designing into the design the different manufacturers' logos. So like I've got a Ford one and I've got a Jeep one and I've got like a Jeep crawling up a mountain.
You got a Chevy one?
Oh, I got a Chevy one.
You got a Subaru one?
Yeah. The Chevy one's actually a dildo, but
I'm probably gonna do
Subaru flag.
I'm probably gonna do I'll do a Trail Boss one and sell at least half of one. They'll ask me to cut off the Trail Boss half and just get half a flag, but those have been pretty cool. I've been just like burning through my Dan scraps because I don't have room in my shop for one single more scrap. I have material that I'm not doing stuff with, and I need to do stuff with it. So I'm starting to chuck like cutting boards together. I'm making catch-all trays, and I'm doing some epoxy work with, again, putting logos in them. So that's what I've been doing a lot of this last week. And then I also just got hit up by the company that I do all that laser work that I'm always talking about. They just hit me up. They have a new model of puzzle box that they want to give out at the conferences that they've already been to. So it's like a new, same thing, but new model. They just reached out to me today and they want to do like a faced laser, so they want it on the top and on the front, and this new model, and they want like 700 of them. And so I sent out that quote today.
700?
700.
2 zeros.
2 zeros. 700 0309. Wait, 8675309. 5309.
8675309.
But yeah, so 700 units, 2 separate faces. So essentially I'm going to be doing lasering like these puzzle boxes for essentially 1400 units. They're just going to be on 2 things.
Oh, you doing it on the laser, not in the CNC router?
I do them on the laser, because with the 100 watt, like it doesn't have to be. I can burn through the material just as well as I can carve it on the CNC. So
yeah, and there's no burring or anything. Yeah.
No, yeah, I run the laser at like the lowest possible setting, because if you are looking at lasers, keep in mind the most powerful laser that you can get isn't always the best one. My Texas blood kicks in, and I'm always like, I need the highest wattage I can.
Oh, that's true.
But when you want to do like engraving, when you want to be able to like engrave things and have it char, kind of darken up, some like the lower wattages are actually better for that, because you're not going to blow through the material.
Can confirm. Going from the 40 watt to the 150 watt, my engravings are worse than they were with my 40 watt. Because it literally...
I got an idea for you then, Braden.
Ooh.
Hear me out.
Okay.
You can borrow my laser pecker LP2 to do all these.
Just do them one at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, like the Amish did back in the day? Get out of here.
That seems great. Actually, that sounds like exactly like what we talked about on the episode about manufacturing jobs.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do one at a time?
Do one at a time. Yeah. Material handling. It's a myth. It's an urban legend. But yeah, so I've got that. I'm just waiting for final approval on that order. And I'm super pumped, because I was not 100% sure how I was going to deal with the fact that I've been buying more tools than I've been like earning through sales. So this is going to help. This is going to help kind of turn that back around. So I got a lot of stuff going on this week.
Nice.
Yeah. Dang it. Whenever you said you're doing on the laser, oh man, because I was gonna offer. Like, I know I was talking about how busy I am and all, but especially for a good cause, man, I could. I say if you want to send me an SVG file for the CNC router, the old Inventables could go to work for you, bro.
Oh,
I'd be glad to help you out, man.
Aren't you 49 months behind?
Yeah, well, we got a guy on it. We got a guy on it. Like I said, but no, I'd pull an all-nighter to help you out, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, if anybody's listening and you want to try some stuff and donate some stuff, or try and sell it at wholesale, and you want to do some car related type stuff, hit me up. I can try and connect you, or we can work something out. But I think I might try and whip out like some keychains and some just some stuff, get the laser kind of going until the big laser puzzle box.
If you need
job
some keychain blanks,
up.
I got you.
All right, perfect.
How do you spell Trail Boss?
I bought
Asking for a friend?
I bought a pack of like 100 keychains, and I've used like 5.
Yeah, I have a bunch of hats sitting around too that I might do something with.
Oh yeah, I feel like the hats would go well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
Some Haktua hats or something like that.
I don't want to talk about.
Is that still hot, or is that already dead? I don't know.
I think it's dead.
It's cold Tua now.
I don't want to talk about Haktua hats. My only return that I've ever gotten is a Haktua hat, and it showed up yesterday. And
he Haktua'd it right back to you. Yeah.
I can't figure out how to get Shopify to let me actually refund this guy, so I can just put all this nonsense behind me. But return
keep his money.
The return reason is for too small, and I just wanted to respond back with, it's an adjustable hat, you moron.
You got a big enough head. I get it.
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Also,
we did. I've been raging for
the
a couple
person that's
weeks
buying
about
that hat probably has a head big enough that they can't even put it on.
Yeah. And they know what they're getting into. Yeah, we've talked about this.
That's the thing. I'm 100% certain that their wife and or girlfriend found the box and opened it before they got home.
You mean wife, sister?
Yeah. They opened it before the purchaser got there and were told,
"What is this?
No.
What is this?
Not in
I
my
tell
house.
you what.
I tell you what.
What?
This is a classy family home.
I told you you're not wearing out to the wedding.
You can wear it to church, but not the wedding.
Yeah.
Told you grandma wouldn't like the hat. Sheesh.
But yeah, no. So I don't want to talk about Haktua. That's my only return, and I still gotta figure it out because Shopify won't let me refund the guy.
Just DM the
Less
girl,
than
see
the
she'll get
full
you a
amount?
refund. She'll front it.
What's that?
See if the
Hawk
girl
to a
will, the
girl.
Hawk to a
Oh,
girl,
yeah.
just DM her.
Hey, I've been selling technically unofficial stuff referencing your Haktua thing. Can you mind?
Can you front me?
That actually brings up a
Front me
legit
a
question.
couple.
Can you sell stuff based on what she said? That's literally not trademarked by her.
No, it's not.
I believe that they started. I was reading a thing where they were trying to put through the trademark, but the guys who did the interview, they were slapping a trademark on their content that she was on, and so there's some
trademark fight.
There's some legal stuff because the
So dumb.
interviewer versus the sayer of the two.
You know, sometimes I really just hate the whole like content
everything.
creator community.
Internet,
Not the community, but the internet. The whole thing
Just-
of it is like gosh, whatever.
Just the machine is just running along, crushing hopes and dreams, and making people famous that say
know
stuff
what?
like, "You
I
gotta
hope
give them that."
I hope she makes enough so that she has enough in her bank account when she's retiring that she's comfortable and just like that's
She's
it.
not.
She's gonna go back to work and whatever. Like let her enjoy her 15 minutes of fame.
You know
Go
what?
for it.
You know what upsets me the most? I say a
Republicans?
lot of dumb things, and I haven't gone viral for the dumb things that I say yet.
I think you need to.
Well-
we need to take you downtown so that you can be interviewed.
I think
at
we
the
need
club
a-
scene.
We
Man,
need a
well-
segment that's Dan's hot takes, and he just gets mad about like, all right,
Just gets
2
mad
flute
about
router bits, okay, 2 flute router bits, just something really dumb, and see one of them takes off.
Compression bits are all. It's all fantasy. It's made up.
That's what they.
You can't upcut and downcut at the same time. It just don't work. I don't know why Dan angry in our examples here is like
Very southern.
very southern.
We're sorry, Dan,
Yeah.
because you're way.
Because I'm not.
We said
Really.
because
Very classy
Nebraska has the
Midwestern.
cleanest U.S.
I'm a
accent
very
ever, right?
articulate
We have
Midwesterner.
no accent. There's
You have no accent.
Regional dialect. Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? I never thought about that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing we talked about. Apparently,
Yeah,
a lot of the call centers are out there because it just
There's a lot of
sounds very plain
Really?
and normal. Yeah.
Yep.
them. Very.
We are
It's
the
very
white
blah.
bread of voices.
Like unbuttered corn, just American and boring.
Unbuttered corn.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. That's my week. Daniel,
Dan, that's you.
I
Rap
suppose
at
I'll go
us.
now. So as we alluded to earlier, and we've talked
Oh.
about it before,
Luda.
I do have shop help now, which is very nice.
Yeah.
I have
And
a high school
intermittent.
kid coming in. He works about 6-7 hours a week tops, but those 2-3 hours that he's in my shop on whatever day, those are the most productive hours of my whole week. It is
Yeah.
insane what I can get done. And
I
like
wish I could just pay
before,
someone to sit in my shop and watch me. Really.
right?
Yeah.
Just
Like, maybe
you
some
just
small
sit in my shop
conversation.
and judge me
Just
constantly.
stay
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, that's essentially it. Like
We're talking about it, body doubling. That's all
I'm
it is.
afraid of being
That's the thing.
judged as a lazy piece of crap.
Just have
so
Kayla sit
I-
in there with you.
Well, I'm used to her judging me like that. It's not the same. It's you got to have that psychological like effect too, though.
I need fresh judgment. Fresh.
Yeah, I
fresh
need
young
fresh
judgment.
I like it
And
better when you watch.
At a certain point, when somebody has walked in on the incident, you're a little less concerned about the judgment of just like, am I working or not? Like you need
Yeah.
somebody who still
That's true.
has that twinkle in their eye when they see you.
Yeah, they kind of look up to me and they're like, "Oh, this is what I want to be when I grow up." That's gone. That's gone with my life.
This
It's
is
not
a successful businessman. Oh my God, this is a successful businessman.
Oh, that was
Anyway.
so well put.
Speaking of
As long as
success,
Dan hears it the right way, that's all that matters.
been working on a lot of tables and stuff. Actually, I finally got the new table I made last week.
The
listed on
Baltimore?
Etsy.
The Baltimore.
The Baltimore.
The gentleman.
You know, that name, as much as I like that name, like, I don't know, it was kind of like split in the comment
So
section.
it's
on
not
my
my experience, and I'm just some simpleton from Poland, but anytime I've been to Baltimore, it's trash. It's as far
Why
as
didn't
cities
you guys tell me this
go,
before I called it the Baltimore?
it sounds fancy.
No, okay.
Like the
does sound
Rembrandt
fancy.
House, or the Vatican or whatever. It just sounds cool, but it could like in another
Vatican.
language just mean like the dump,
But I'll tell you what,
The
I'm going to
dump.
lean into this. I'm going to lean so hard into this. All the tables that I
Do
release
it.
now are going to have a city name after them.
Yeah.
Every Baltimore table
Oh.
comes with a free prison shank.
Oh,
I
Let me
am-
help you put a spin on the Houston.
I am
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
90
Yeah.
That's
I'm
I was
99%
thinking about the Houston, the Austin. I want to do
The
the
Seattle?
Phoenix.
the Seattle.
I'm not changing the name of that table because it's already solidified
but
on
it's got
Etsy.
C in the name.
Yeah,
The
I get it.
Seattle.
I'll just
I'm
update the
99%
time.
sure I figured out this Baltimore, like where we were going when we suggested it versus where it
Yeah,
went.
where were you going?
Guys,
Why did
I
I
find a
listen to you
refined
guys?
name.
I think what we were thinking we were saying Baltimore, we were trying to say the Biltmore.
Tomato,
Like,
potato, whatever, man.
Have you seen like apartment complexes like the Biltmore? Like I think that's where we were
I think
going.
we should call it the
but we went with the
Built-less.
Baltimore.
Bit less.
The built less.
That's cool. You're putting
No.
fancy names on it. Though.
Well,
I
anyways,
like that.
yeah, you see,
Okay.
you're trademarking
Yeah,
table
I mean-
names now.
I just
You gotta
love
have a
seeing
niche.
Dan pump out these tables. Like for a long time,
Don't say pump. Don't say pump.
I just absolutely raw. No, that's not it either.
No,
I love seeing
Absolutely
Dan raw dog
cre-
these tables.
creating these like for a long time, you were really caught up in being burnt out from doing Etsy, and you're like, I want.
Well, I'm still doing Etsy, but I'm trying to diversify my Etsy
Mhm.
listings instead of just doing bow ties and ZCIs. I'm trying to do more furniture and be more quote unquote creative. I say quote unquote because like once you've done it, the creativeness is gone. Like it's there, right?
this.
So my hope is to do more over time and do iterations and do different design styles and stuff so I can be creative and come up with silly little city names for the tables in the future. But yes, I think the Houston has to be one of the tables that I release soon. I don't know what it would be.
Would you do you ever work with like mesquite?
Mesquite.
That's actually not easy to get around here in the Omaha
Well, I mean,
area.
it's not like readily available at my mills either. But
Okay, then why the hell would you even mention that then, Colt?
so it's a kind of a, in my opinion, a
I'm
Texas
used to
wood.
mesquite being like a flavor of barbecue. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna
that's
say,
exactly
yeah,
what gave
exactly.
It's really hard to get mesquite outside of pellet form. Ooh,
I'm gonna have
mesquite-
to buy
Oh.
mesquite pellets and
Epoxy.
soften them up and then re-solidify them as MDF, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
just epoxy them into like boards. Like we're gonna build some frames and make some epoxy and just pour in the mesquite.
There you go.
Just do like,
just like
just
do like a mush, like they do
like
chicken
raw
nuggets. Yeah.
raw pellets.
pure, raw, uncut Colombian mesquite.
Colombian mesquite. But Dan, dude, I feel you on the always needing to have like that creative next step.
Oh,
It's like obviously whenever I
have
oversold
to have
cornhole
it.
boards, like I felt that, bro. But one thing that did keep me going was getting creative in my process, right? And like trying to tweak and find better ways to do the process of building these, which the boards have a ton of steps. I don't know.
I can
how
understand that, but
complex. Yeah.
that's hard
Sometimes-
to do when you're just doing zero clearance inserts.
Yeah. Oh, trust
Right.
me, I still burned out too, man. Like hard. But
Yeah, but like sometimes Colton would start the CNC with his left hand instead of his right hand, like normal. Just keep the,
After
keep the
sitting on
spice
it for a
alive.
Switch
while.
it up.
The stranger.
Spice it up.
The stranger CNC.
yeah, it's like I'm not even there. Yeah.
Call your wife in, like, hey, can you just watch me run the CNC?
Continue talking. I need to write down stranger CNC.
I need you to wear a Mickey Mouse outfit and
Yeah.
just be in the corner of the shop. Yeah.
Just stand in the closet and just like look through the blinds.
Okay.
But yeah, Dan, what else?
To continue what I was talking about.
With the new table.
So, speaking of the tables that I've been doing, I also got a pretty unique order for one of those seat tables that I make. The person who bought the seat table sent me a picture and said, hey, is there any way you can mimic this? And they sent me this picture of like, I think it was like acacia wood. You know how acacia wood is like dark and it's got a bunch of light grains and stuff, and the color variations is kind of like all over the place, and it's really hard to describe the picture they sent because it was like almost like a puzzle piece,
Like
tabletop thing. It was no, it wasn't a puzzle box. It was more complex than that. Anyway,
What was that?
That was the weirdest power move I've ever seen.
Timestamp.
I have been dominance has been established, I guess.
Anyways, mostly they were after the color variations, and I was like, you know what would be amazing here is if I used a walnut that had a lot of sapwood in it. And so I went to a local sawmill, Dan's Custom Sawmill. If you're in the area here, you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, look him up. Anyways, I went to his shop and he had the perfect board, so I bought some boards from him to make this seat table. It's going to be actually super gorgeous. I'm actually excited about making this seat table with all the sapwood in it. So while I was there, I was actually talking to him a lot, and we were just kind of like commiserating about business and stuff. And before the podcast, Colton and I were talking about how important it is to have human interactions.
Yes.
Especially when you work for yourself and you don't get that a lot. I mean, that is so freaking important. You don't realize how important it is until you get out and you do it. And it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks when I was over at Dan Nye's shop, and I was like, man, this is what I'm missing. Just like the interaction with coworkers and colleagues and people of like mind. And that's one of the reasons why we go to those events like Maker Camp and Workbench Con.
Oh yeah.
Just to have that interaction. I feel like it's so important.
I need that re-up twice a year, man.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And you know what? Frankly, I need it more than twice a year. I need it 3, 4, 5 times a year.
Yeah, tell Kayla. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We're still talking about maker events?
Time for a Midwest maker meetup.
Little makeation is what we're talking about here.
Salt Lake City?
Vacation. Oh,
yeah.
Salt Lake City would be awesome.
We've been talking about Salt Lake for a while. So, maybe.
To be fair, that was because at the time when we started talking about it, one of our sponsors had a warehouse in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, but they have Lefty, right?
Where was the house?
You confused the hell out of me.
Warehouse.
Oh.
Sorry, that was a pretty top tier brand joke right there.
Yeah, that was super top tier.
I really want to do that at 12:20 a.m. Really?
I think Omaha. I'm just saying, like, it's the Salt Lake City of Nebraska. So
yeah, but then there's all those layovers and stuff.
Anyway, where else was I going with this? Oh yeah, so aside from going and seeing this other woodworker, I went and had a conversation with a different local woodworker, and he's working on interestingly enough, his name is also Dan. There are so many Dans in the Omaha metro area that are woodworkers. It is ridiculous, you guys. It's ridiculous. I need to have a trademark
den of Dans?
on the name Dan.
Oh yeah, that'll work out.
Anyways, I went to go see Dan Vollmer, different Dan. He's working on a 15-foot Clara walnut slab table for a pet feed company or a dog food company, something like that. He's working on it for like their conference room or whatever, and he wanted to do some custom inlays for the table. So he wanted to put some dogs and some dog bones and other things into the table to secure the cracks and stuff. So we like collaborated a little bit, and I came up with a dog and a dog bone for him, and I made the inlays and the templates for him so he could just do it willy-nilly in his shop. And that was actually fun. I enjoyed doing that.
What breed of dog did you go with?
It was just something that I found on the internet, and I stole it from a website, and it kind of looks like a Chow or a Shiba Inu.
Oh, like a
Basically,
fluffy dog.
I was just looking for a dog that had a very good side profile where you could only see two legs, because if you're going to inlay this with your palm router with a template, you need it to be pretty simple, and it has to meet like certain like variables. Like you can't have too many pointy parts, you can't have too many like breakable parts. So
no poodles.
No poodles.
No poodles.
No poodles.
So like a Shiba Inu, like the Dogecoin dog. It's fine.
Yeah, it was actually perfect.
He does look good on a coin. Here,
2D. I could show you the dog that I went with. And then as a little Easter egg, we're also going to create an inlay for the bottom side of the table of a dog shitting.
Oh,
that's great.
So my dog before the podcast.
Awesome.
I can provide a photo.
Do you have a photo of that?
Please don't. No.
I can get one.
No.
Power move. I've got to go reestablish dominance later and it's shit in the kennel.
I really enjoy like collaborating with local woodworkers like that. I think that's cool. So man. I've been doing that
more.
Yeah. Braden's local to me, I think.
Not local enough. No.
Yeah. Okay.
A little closer.
I've just been sitting here this entire time hearing him talk about actually collaborating with local woodworkers, and the entire time being like, the hell am I? Chop liver? Hey, Nick, Nick, you hearing this?
Wow.
Well, okay.
Bros,
Nick Bros probably already writing a letter.
Yeah, Oma Bros, more like Oma Hoes.
Remember Oma
Okay,
Bros?
let me back up a little bit. Remember when I was talking about how I was at the shop, Dan's Custom Sawmill.
Dan Nye,
one of the things that I did when I was at his shop was I brought up the fact that Nick, Braden, and I found some amazing white oak slabs that are really thick, and we would like to get them resawed. And Dan Nye was nice enough to say, yeah, bring them over to my shop and we'll resaw them down and see what the moisture is like in the middle, and then you'll have two different slabs. Because some of those slabs that we got from the guy that we found on Facebook, or Braden found, actually, they were like, what, 3.5 inches thick?
Yeah, they were thick boys.
Yeah, we got 7 slabs.
Boy.
We got 7 slabs from this guy that are all like 3 inches thick on average. Some a little more, some a little less.
Wow.
For $200.
The shortest one is 8 feet long.
That's illegal.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I told Dan what we're planning on doing with them.
Which Dan?
Dan Nye, the custom sawmill guy.
The sawmill guy.
I told him what we were planning on doing with them. Braden and Nick and I, we talked about making a table and raffling it off and giving all the proceeds to Makers for St. Jude.
Dude, that is cool.
Dan Nye was like, yeah, bring it over, man. We'll take care of it. So huge shout out to Dan Nye over at Dan's Custom Sawmill here in Bellevue, Nebraska.
Holla.
That's all I have to talk about. I want to hear what Colton is working on.
Yeah, man.
Oh, dude. All right. So I got 2 projects. One of them I don't have yet, even though I just said I had it. It's in one of them's incoming, but I am working on a set of cornhole boards right now. I've only done one before, and it was very early on, where the entire top is like a leather grain pattern, right? And so it's a ton of resin. I did upcharge the customer a little bit, but not nearly enough, which is very typical of me and most woodworkers too. At least
from what I've heard in the stories you've told, yes, that's all tracking very well.
So I'm taking like a 60-degree V-bit and on the entire top of the cornhole board doing like this leather pattern, right? And in that doing like just like a very dark black resin, and then but still doing all the clear through stuff for the rest of it. But yeah, so that one is going to be interesting. And I've done one before. You can see like a little instant of a clip of it in my latest process video, which was about a year ago. More than that came out. But yeah. Oh, on the restoration side, so I have a acquaintance whose house burned down, unfortunately, and he has his grandma's. He got it from his grandma. Oh, I don't know the technical term for it. It's basically like picture like a chest of cabinets, and then there's another cabinet, and then there's like a swinging mirror on it. But it's like charred to hell. Like it's missing weight. It got burnt bad enough. But I'm gonna rebuild it. It's all out of oak, and I'm pretty excited to get it. As soon as I get this leather grain board out, I think I'm gonna bring it into my shop.
It's like a
and
vanity type thing,
I think that's the right term.
or
So
Davenport.
No, Davenport is a couch.
Oh, is it really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to use an old timey term.
yeah, dude. The other day, I did the most over 30-year-old thing I've ever done, and I bought 2 books. One of them is called the Furniture Bible, and the other one's called the Field Guide to European and American Antique Furniture. And I only flipped through the Field Guide, and it is really exciting. And I was like, I had a realization moment. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting excited reading about antique furniture.
Look at this.
Like,
nerd
who
in
am
his-
I?
Look at this nerd in his book.
Did you flip through it and be like, there are no pictures? What's
Good thing you're married, because man, it's game over after this.
I don't know, dude. The old ladies love it. But
Hey, honey, do you want to go to the farmer's market and then go antiquing this weekend?
yeah, exactly. But the reason why I bought those books, or like the day I bought those books, me and Rick is the owner of XFR, Extreme Furniture Repair, here in Houston, who I work for now. And we were walking to do an estimate. And we walk in, there's this like 10-foot Italian armoire, right? And it's got like this, what do you call it? Olive wood burl, like on the front of it, and all this marquetry. The thing's over 150 years old. And we actually just returned the project and everything, installed, if you will. And whenever we were reinstalling it and everything, we noticed all this like German writing on it, right? And so because it breaks down to about 14 15 pieces. And we were looking up like what Haut meant, and like there was a word that started with D that meant down, and looking up all these German words. It's kind of neat. Because you think about it, 150 years, it was made in Italy. Like this thing has seen some world wars. This thing has been who knows where. They only got it at an antique show like 40 years ago, I guess.
only?
Yeah, but it was cool redoing that. That was one of the only projects that actually went smoothly. Like so many times when you're like stripping down and refinishing these antiques, there's always something that goes wrong. And yeah, whether someone loses hardware, or there's something underneath the finish that makes the lacquer like fisheye, and you just can't do it how many times you strip it down and redo it. But
German engineering, right? Like a Volkswagen.
Right?
Das
Right.
Auto. Time
Das-
to,
Yeah.
time
Das
to
furniture.
time
But
to
actually, one thing
unempty
funny
the
was
auto.
we walked in, and the lady, the owner of it, was like, "Oh, this is our French armoire," and then Rick was like, "No, there's no olive wood in France at that time. Like, you're an idiot. Like, this is Italian." And
Did he say that to the actual customer?
no, he did correct.
You're
them.
an idiot. But we'll take on the project.
Funny thing is, Rick is bold enough to call someone out, but no, he was much more polite about it. But he was like, "I really believe this is actually Italian, and whoever sold it to you is full of baloney."
Or
Yep.
prosciutto, because it's Italian.
There we go.
Full of prosciutto.
Exactly.
Bologna.
Bologna, yeah. Nice. Anything else going on?
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Oh man.
No,
No, the other guest
on
that
your
we
bench?
got on.
No, dude, oh no, man, just a bunch of furniture in and out. Well, every time there's a storm, right? We work a lot with insurance. Our sister company is actually everything else that insurance would pull out of your home, like clothes, electronics, firearms. And then so we're a natural extension of repairing nice furniture that's nice enough. We're not repairing like IKEA. Right?
Furniture that's nice enough to have an insurance policy on.
Exactly. And yeah, so as I'm sure y'all know, we just got hit with that hurricane, which is only category 1, but dude, I was out of power for over a week.
Oh,
and, yeah, actually I wanted to talk about that because we were supposed to have you on last week and you couldn't do it because of the situation that you were in.
I thought it was just dodging us, honestly.
I mean, it could have been.
Dude, I almost did the podcast
convenient excuse.
Yeah. I almost did the podcast from my boss's house, actually, because he got his power back earlier. But yeah, so we're in what I call storm mode right now, where we're just packing out, like going into nasty houses that have had like a tree fall through the top of it, and it's just moist and wet and hot, and trying to load up these like grand pianos and everything and save it as much as we can, and trying to get as many jobs in a day as we can. And yeah, so we're in storm mode right now.
I mean, to me, that just sounds like job security, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I'll never celebrate someone losing very special things to them, right? However, from our point of view, it's really cool to go in there and someone's like, this music box is so special to our family. Do what you can. Save it. Save me, and to then take it and like even rebuild part of it and refinish it and everything, give it back to them looking better than it probably was before the storm. And like seeing them light up, man, it not to get all sloppy on you, but it's it's nice. I like it.
It's got to be rewarding. Yeah. I mean, you're bringing life back to something that's damaged, and like, listen, say what you want, but man, this is an affluent area specific niche, but you get to restore beautiful old antique things because there are affluent customers that you have there.
Yeah.
Like that's important. Like you got to be in that kind of area. So if you're in just like rural Nebraska, like people aren't restoring old furniture. Like, calm down.
What?
You're not rural. You're just
49 other states you could have picked, but yeah, no, jump of Nebraska.
You're not rural. Get out of here. You guys by the airport.
Warren Buffett lives here. You think he doesn't have a fancy piece of
what
furniture?
Name dropping? Oh my God.
Yeah. Hey, I got a selfie with my boy W.
I have a selfie with the valet that parked the car of the guy that shines the shoes of Warren Buffett. Okay, so yeah.
I also have a selfie with a valet that parked a car for Warren Buffett once. It's just a selfie of me.
Yeah, I think you're meaning to say Baltimore. I hear the antique market over there is dead.
Baltimore, it's dead. So basically, the key is if you ever go full time yourself with your own business doing this, you're gonna move into an affluent area in a floodplain.
Smart.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
like Omaha.
I mean, like Pete was kind of implying, like it's a really cool skill that you have because when you're building a new piece of furniture, if you mess something up bad enough, you can just it sucks, I gotta get more material and do it again.
Right. You can just hawk it and be like,
when you're restoring something that's like 40, 60, 100 years old, you can't just like start over. Like you lose some details and those details are just gone. So exactly. I mean that seems like way more stress than I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So good on you for dealing with that.
Yeah.
However, does anybody else think of the lady that tried to restore the old Spanish painting, the fresco? It was like a couple years ago. It was like a
fresco.
I vaguely remember this. She ruined it or something.
She tried to restore it. It looked like a stick figure drawing.
No.
Yeah, I remember.
No, I didn't see that.
I mean, I watched Mr. Bean, the Mr. Bean movie where he restores or like.
I'll find a link and show you again.
Well,
please do.
The cool thing is, Colton, I guess if something goes sideways enough, you could always just cover that coffee table in chalk paint and it'll be fine. Like just sell it on Etsy or
Epoxy
Facebook
it.
Marketplace.
Oh yeah.
Just call it rustic farmhouse antiquing.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, one thing that is cool too is whenever something's non-salvage, we just throw it away, right?
Ew.
Like we'll go ahead and move it out, but like, you know, some of these homeowners, like they just don't want it back. They're like, oh, we already changed the light, our chandelier for the kitchen, and I have a chandelier actually in our dining room that was from someone's house.
I was gonna say Colton has like a 1-story tall crystal chandelier out in his shop now.
Yeah, exactly.
in the middle.
No, I do
no
have like
shadows anywhere. That's great.
I do have like a 4-foot chandelier, like big, like rectangular prism crystals that I'm trying to decide if we want to put it above our breakfast nook.
Ooh.
But
Sorry,
like we're not in a fancy house. It's not like
As
tall
long as it's
ceiling.
not touching the table.
Yeah, it's about to be touching the table. So I don't know.
I don't want to stop the podcast, but I sent the link in the chat on Zoom. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the fresco that I'm talking about.
Al fresco. Isn't that a soda?
No, that's Fresca.
Close
That's
enough.
a great soda. It's a great
Francesca.
soda. It's
Very
a
refreshing.
grapefruit based soda.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
This is like a little more flavor than LaCroix. Oh, sorry, LaCroix.
La Croix. La
LaCroix.
Croix. La Croix.
Croissant.
Oh, this whole article is about people just absolutely butchering.
But if you go down a little bit, you'll
restorations
see
and
the one that I'm
stuff.
talking about. It's a picture of Jesus and a lady redid it, and it's just all
No. Oh,
There's
it has
this-
the one soccer player statue.
There's a
Way too
statue
small.
on here. There's a statue on here too of the
No.
Virgin Mary and baby Jesus, and baby Jesus's entire head looks like clay that was left out in the sun.
Scroll down.
This reminds me of Pinterest fails. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Do you see the
dude.
one of the Jesus fresco?
I'll see it.
So
It's awful. It's
Colton,
awful.
what else do you work on? You got anything else?
Man, that's about it, brother.
Dear
it.
sweet baby Peter, what are you working on? You're just working on getting ready for that baby, aren't you?
I am Baby Peter, first of my name. So I'll keep it quick because I feel like we got some good questions I want to get into. But what am I working on? So I got my fiber laser finally set up, got it dialed in. It took a little bit of it's my first time like having to really play around with settings outside of just having the regular CO2 lasers. So got it all dialed in. It engraved metal, works great. It's really weird because it won't engrave wood. It like at least at the frequency I've been playing around with, like it's because there's
Really?
speed, feed, and frequency. So like you have to like think of 3 different things, or speed, power, and frequency. And
Frequency.
it literally like I would put a piece of wood in there and it would like even at high power, it would like just it's like a faded, like marred up section of where I was actually engraving. You put metal in there, immediately burns off the top layer. Like it's super cool. But you know, I still have to test it out with acrylic and some other stuff because depending on the type, there's different types of fiber lasers, and some do metal, acrylic, and a couple other things. Some will do wood, leatherette, all the other stuff as well. So it's different ones. There's a fiber that's UV, and then there's the MOPA. If you've ever seen somebody engrave and the engravings look like they're in color, the MOPA fiber laser is actually crazy. They're depending on the frequency you use, you can engrave the same piece of steel and it will be red or green or red or like a yellow.
Oh, so it's like anodizing.
Not quite anodizing, but it's burning the wood burning the metal at a certain frequency that causes it to turn a color. Insane.
Interesting.
But anyways, that's not the one I have. I have the basic like engraving metal, and it's super cool. So I have a couple of like random blanks for testing and whatnot. I have some chisels and knives lined up already to put some cool patterns on them. And I'm super stoked. I'm really excited about it. Because like, and if anyone's confused with like, what's a fiber laser? Like if you have any like kitchen knife where there's like a logo engraved on it, that's a fiber laser. You can't do that with a CO2 laser without like some extra chemical.
Okay.
Can you let me finish, Dan? You can't do it without some extra chemicals, which basically the CO2 burns that like whatever solution's on it and that causes a chemical reaction
It's
to
like
etch,
etching. Yeah.
etch it.
Yeah.
This literally burns away the metal. This is the same way that like when you get like parts cut from like send cut send and they're out of aluminum or something and they're not routed, or not aluminum, but like steel, it's cut with a fiber laser. So like it's just a clean cut. It's super nice. Really cool tech, and I'm really excited to like play around with it, but I'm also like a little overwhelmed by it. Like, what am I like? I don't do metal work, and like, what am I gonna engrave with it? But I'm just gonna have a lot of freaking fun with it.
Dude, that is cool as heck.
Yeah. The
How
answer
big's
to
your bed on that? I was saying, how big is your bed?
It's 5x5. The bed is a little bigger, but the engraving is about 5x5 inch.
That's a beast of a machine.
Yeah,
Holy
inch,
crap.
inch, 5
Inch.
inch, not 5
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah, 5 inch.
Oh, okay.
No, 5x5 inch. Yeah.
Unless of course you're hearing 5 inch by 5 inch and you're thinking that's a beast.
Oh, it's master. That's like
that is
No,
huge.
no, I
like
thought you were
two of
saying
me.
foot. I was like, that thing's industrial. I used to work selling for a place that did like, we called it first and second stage metal plate processing, but basically they just had a bunch of plasmas, lasers, water jets. And,
Yeah, we have a place called Liquid Metal that's down the street. Keith actually, my buddy that lives down the street, he gets a lot of custom parts like first projects like made at this place, and I've seen the work that this guy does. It's insane good quality, and he has like a 1-car garage sized fiber laser that he could just like throw any like actually 5x10 sheets of metal in there and cut it up to whatever he needs, and it just comes out already. It's insane. The level of quality that comes out of this machine, it's bonkers. But it's like costs as much as my house, you know. So
yeah.
not going in that route.
Do you have any issues switching from like aluminum to like carbon?
No, so well, not yet. At least I haven't really messed around with it too much. Metal working is the last like medium that I have not played around with. So like the welding, doing TIG welding, and then regular mag weld, like whatever. Like I think TIG welding is aluminum. I'm probably wrong. Correct me.
Tungsten. It's the T.
Yeah, so like I
Right?
want to get into welding, doing metal work as well, and now with the fiber laser, gonna be able to do a lot of cool stuff. So I'm really stoked for it. But anyway, so I got that thing running. I did some test stuff. I've been revamping a bunch of files. It kind of got me annoyed / inspired to go over my like file computer, the one in the shop, and my like external that I like. I have a network storage in the house, and I have a big folder for just like files. And I always think to myself, like, I have so many files, I should just list them. Half of them are trash. Half of them were one-offs. And like, I'm just trying to filter through them, see what's actually usable, what I need to keep, what I need to delete, what I can monetize and actually list on Etsy. So I've just been cleaning up a lot of stuff. I also worked, and I was showing the guys earlier this week, like PDFs. I'm trying to get a standard PDF. So like when somebody downloads a file from me, it has some basic instructions, because Dan will tell you, selling a lot of digital files, a lot of people are just like, I can't open this. It's because it's a zipped file. Like you just have to unzip the folder, you know, or they're like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And I literally in the instructions say like, every machine's different. You'll have to figure out what your settings are, you know? So
Where's my tracking number for the product?
yeah, exactly. So it's just like a little thing to try to simplify at least, or eliminate some of the questions that I'll be getting when I'm selling these files. Aside from that, hung out with some people this week. So like Paul Jackman, there was Maker's Ultimate Challenge was happening.
Maker's Challenge.
Ultimate Maker, no, it's Muck Maker Ultimate Challenge.
I've heard it both ways.
They literally had muck bucks. I have fake money with their faces on it.
I'm just mentally preparing myself for you to go on another name dropping tangent.
Well, so the event that, you know, my good buddy Izzy Swan was throwing, but anyways, they had an event in Delaware, so a lot of cool makers were down there, and Jackman was driving up, and he just hits me up yesterday and goes, what are your plans for this afternoon? I'm like, why? What's up? He's like, well, I'm driving, I think, past your area. So he ended up stopping by, hung out for a little bit. We went over to surprise Keith, whose birthday it was. Happy belated birthday, Keith. Hopefully he listens to this.
Woo.
And that was fun though, because like, you know, it's nice that Jackman felt like you could be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm gonna stop by the house for a little bit. So it's really
That's cool. That's cool.
It's cool that like these guys are my friends, because I've talked about this on a podcast multiple times. That like Jackman was one of the guys that I like idolized when I was like getting into the maker community, and now we're buds. So it's really cool, you know. and he listens to this. He's gonna rub it in my face later on. It's great. But aside from that, man, I'm just mentally like so clocked out of life. I know weird like what Braden was doing last week, or like his brain was just like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just checking out. I didn't know what to do with myself the last 2 weeks. Like I had to like actively think about what projects to do because I didn't have any jobs to complete. So it's just been like, right now I'm in a holding pattern with a lot of stuff in the house. Like everything's done, the honey-do lists are mostly finished, or like I don't want to take on any big projects when we have like a baby on the way any day now. So it's a lot of like, I've kind of mentally checked out in the shop, mentally checked out at work. I'm just waiting for the baby to get here, because then I have just 3 priorities, and it's baby, Emma, and then like shop if there's time. And I don't have to think about work or anything like that. So, and of course the podcast, don't worry.
I must say ADP.
You have 5 priorities. You need to make sure that you stay on your own priority list. And I say that jokingly, but that is a really hard part. Our role as fathers, especially the first one, it's all new. And I know how you are, because you're like, Dan and I, you are going to forget about yourself, taking care of the baby and taking care of Emma.
I'll sleep when they go to college. Like, it's fine.
And we joke about that, but you're going to have to change and make a very deliberate action to take care of yourself. And I'm taking it on as my own personal job that I'm going to continue to make sure to remind you. Well, hey,
I appreciate that.
Taking care of yourself.
Oh, we all need to look out for each other. So I appreciate that.
That's a nugget right there, man.
You're right. You're right. Because I'm not even on that list. My list was 3 things, and the shop was ahead of even me. So, and granted, like, listen, I don't know how much free time I'm going to have, but if I have free time, I'm just going to try to focus on getting some product out ahead of, ahead of the holidays. Which, by the way, one thing I do want to mention is it's almost Christmas in July, which means we're 6 months away from Christmas, which means this is when you start thinking about the holidays. Like, start planning your year, because before you know it, you're going to be scrambling to make stuff in November. December, from like the 10th of December till Christmas, you should really be relaxing with your family. You shouldn't be working all the way up until like Christmas Eve. I know I'm only saying that because I know we'll still work till the 20th, but like at least gives you a few days,
We got Nerd Pete talking about planning ahead for your holiday time.
Plan ahead.
Get ready for the Christmas rush.
If you're not thinking about the holidays before going to Maker Camp, you're effing up, bud.
I'm already thinking about Christmas next year. That's how far ahead I'm thinking.
I know Colton is, because
it's hard to think about next week, honestly.
Christmas next year, Colton should finish up 2 years ago's final boards.
All right, well, that's what's on my bench. Why don't we get into questions, because we got a couple here to knock them out. Yeah. Let's rapid fire through them. What is life? All right, so here's let's play this intro.
Oh, Black Betty, ram-a-lam.
That's apparently your intro for that. All right, so first question is from Nicholas Paciatano. Oh, wait.
A French armoire.
Why is no play, my friend?
Donde está
there it is. Donde está la Nick Paciateca?
Hey guys, Nick from The Working Grain. So I've been trying to ramp up production on the CNC a little bit more lately in the shop, and like many others, I do most of my design work inside in the house, and then I bring the laptop out to the shop to run the CNC. But by the time I get out there, after the design is finished, sometimes it's a few days later, and I've forgotten what stock dimensions I have for the material that I set for that carve. So I'm wondering if you guys have any tips or tricks, or have found an easy way to not only notate the material dimensions, but also any bit changes or order of operations in terms of which carve to run first, aside from going back into the design programming and looking for each individual carve. Just looking to improve some efficiency. Thanks.
Wow, Nick, what a handsome question you have there. So I will tell you one thing, just from my experience. What I tend to, if I'm just working on one-off projects, I literally go pen and paper, and I write down some details that I need, and I'll like leave it by the computer, so I know like that project is, and I obviously write down what the project is. What I've been trying to do, and this is more in a 3D printing thing, I tend to refer back to some projects that I print regularly, or I might want to update. I save every version of that file. I save the program file, not just the exports of like the the DXF, SVG, in this case, or a 3D printing and STL. And I've actually been adding little notes. Like I'll make a Word document. I'll just type up some notes and throw it into that folder as well. So it'll be like the AWP sign placker, and I got every file name and I got some notes in there. So if I refer to that file in 3 years, I know exactly what my thought process was. However, I will share something that Justin Bailey dropped in the pre-show that I really appreciated because I never really thought about this. The G-code file, the file you export from Aspire, from VCar, from a lot of these programs, it's just code written in a text document. That's really all it is. So if you open it up at the top line, depending on the G-code, I think you do either parentheses, star, or pound. Don't quote me on it. But it's you essentially are able to add text, and it doesn't affect the G-code at all. And the really nice thing, if you have a Onefinity, for example, and you're running it through the controller, there's a G-code visualizer, and you can actually see the right at the top. It'll say this thick of a material, this bit, this speed, this many tool change. Like you can just write whatever you want in there, and you see it before you even run your job. So I thought, Justin, that was brilliant. I think that's a great idea. He thought it was like common knowledge. I'm like, no, I've never heard of anyone doing that. So I want to give him a shout out. Now Dan's rolling his eyes heavily, so I'm going to go through it to him.
I go super simple and just make notations on the file.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you're working with VCarve. I just make notations on the file with the text tool.
Oh, I've done that too. Yeah, like right in like
Dan,
on the file.
Because
I do that.
I'm thinking that not only is that going to help me, but if I ever make an SVG or a DXF to list on Etsy, it already makes the file pretty simple and somewhat self-explanatory for whoever buys it, and I don't have to write a really long like instruction file, hopefully. So that's what I do. I keep it pretty simple. What about, obviously, Colton, you do
so in some of my files I'll do that, but also I have had no reason to upgrade from my web-based software. And so if I design it like whatever, everything's already saved in that file. So it's really a different approach on CNC stuff. So, but yeah, I'm still using Easel, and Easel has updated a lot. It's not, I know I'm missing out on some stuff. I was looking at going into Carveco. They were at Workbench Con, and I looked at some of their stuff, and it didn't seem too bad.
Only thing I hate great about. I'm sorry, Colton.
I was the only thing I hate about it is that it's a monthly subscription.
Well, that's what's great about all those platforms is they all have a text function. So
yeah,
that makes it pretty easy.
Braden,
guys, I am just out here living in the wild, chaos, tools astrew in my shop. I export each of my files separately based on the bit, and then I just name each file what it is, what step it is, and then what tool I need. So it's literally in my file name, because us up here on Mount Olympia, amongst the gods with the Masso controller, I'm loading my files in on there. So I can see all of my files on the USB drive on the controller. And so I'm literally just, I got a touch screen, just touch it. And then I know exactly what I'm loading in. And then it tells me like, hey, change to bit number, whatever I've named or numbered that bit as. So I can also have like the double check of, am I doing the right thing? But I don't have a ton of files that use a different bit. I'm using quarter inch downcut bits on like pretty much everything.
Yep.
The other stuff is just one-off stuff. So I'm literally sitting at my computer when I push start. So I don't really have to worry about like if I'm going to forget what it is, because I can just open up the file again and it's going to be a quarter inch bit and put that in and push start and bing, bang, boom, we're gone.
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do when I'm creating a new file is I'll try to put everything around like one bit so that I know like when I'm starting a file. So like the Baltimore, I just made the Baltimore. I carve everything out with the 1/4 inch bit, start to finish. I don't switch anything up, and that makes it super simple for me. And I know I don't have to worry about bit changes or anything. So like whenever I do all the tool pathing, when it's done in VCarve, I can just go in and do like a merge tool path, and it'll do everything all at once.
Optimizing the tool path.
Good,
Very nice.
good answers. But yeah, there's a lot of places to store data in there. Like it. All right, next question is from Matthew Broderick about finishing plywood.
The
Hi,
actor?
guys. Obligatory long-time listener, first-time caller here. I've enjoyed following all of your journeys, and I am really enjoying Season 3 with Braden joining you. Great chemistry all around. All right, enough of the nice huggy-feely stuff. I have 2 plywood-specific questions. 1, edge finish. 2, hardware inserts. I have made some shop jigs for my wife's growing hobby, and have had some friends of hers ask if I could make more for them. Sorry, I don't want to announce the hobby on air as it's a pretty small niche, and I would like to make a few dollars. At least that's what I tell myself. There are a few options on Etsy, but they are really high-end or crap I wouldn't trust to work well or last for very long. I plan on using 3/4 ply and 1/2 ply for a lot of the structural components and have started making some rough prototypes. However, I am spending way too much time trying to finish the edges. I know Pete has dealt with a lot of plywood sanding recently, so I thought he might have a hint or two. These will be used and stored in an indoor environment, and while I'm not striving for furniture grade, it needs to be smooth to the touch. I'm hoping to be able to flat pack these for shipping and have the recipient assemble them. To make this work, I would need to have some thread inserts, dowels, and/or some fitted notches for mating surfaces to ensure squareness. Have any of you used inserts in the edge grain of plywood? Anyways, thanks for all that you do, and keep up the good work. Matt Broderick, P.S. No, I'm not that Matthew Broderick.
So really, really good question about
So
plywood.
what's his question?
Edge finishing. Is he talking about like he's not talking about edge banding?
So he's talking about
right?
no, he's talking about finishing the. So he's making something out of plywood, and the edges are going to be exposed, and he wants them to be really smooth. And he's also talking about using threaded inserts of some kind in the end grain of the plywood. And I have 2 very quick answers for that. First one is, or for the plywood itself, start with really high quality plywood. If you can get Baltic birch, that's the stuff to go with, because it's just going to be, it's much thicker. There's less voids, and not thicker, sorry. They're thinner layers, but they're all like denser. It's heavy stuff when you get the proper stuff. And when you sand it, it's a lot closer in analog to sanding like actual wood end grain. The problem is, keep in mind, the sheets are alternated 90 degrees, sometimes even 45. So the grain's going in every direction. So make sure, like I use the surf prep sander, the little square one. It oscillates so quickly. It really sands it up really nicely because it goes in every direction all at once. And there's still some like hand sanding you want to do afterwards. The other thing is, as far as threaded inserts go, yes, but you want to, so you can do it, but the longer the threaded insert and the longer the threaded insert, the better, because there's more reference surface. You're less likely to just, someone would crank on it and like break the edge. The other thing is, do not make that threaded insert too tight. You almost want to make it the thickness. Ask me how I know. I literally just put in a threaded insert into some plywood edge the other day. If you get it, like if you're like you treat it like wood, where you're like, oh, I want it to be snug. No, you need it to be like almost a hair over what it needs to be, so that only the teeth of the threaded insert are grabbing into the plywood. Because if you go too tight, you're going to split that wood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be careful with that. But hopefully whatever this magical unicorn niche project is going to work out and be very profitable for you. Colton, what do you think?
Man, I was gonna suggest like a spindle sander too.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know, obviously depending on what it is. Or like what do you call it when it's a spindle sander, but it's like a whole belt?
It's a belt sander. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I use the heck out of that like rigid one.
Yeah, but say the rigid one, the big orange one.
Edge sander. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, he's right.
That or if he was talking about like the burrs potentially, I don't know if he's lasering or CNC routing, but also round over bits. Like you can get them really small, like a 16th inch, and a round over helps a lot.
Smooth out the
I
edges
do a
a
lot
little
of
bit.
round overs, but
Yeah.
it obviously depends what he's doing. So
Braden?
I don't have anything to add after Pete. So I'm going to take a stab at what I think the super secret unicorn niche market is.
Oh.
I think it is, wait for it, ice climbing tools. I'm just going to say it.
Stay in your lane, Matthew.
I think he's trying to get up in your business, both literally and not metaphorically, but definitely literally.
Let me ask you a question.
That's
Dan?
That's what I got. Dan, what you got?
Yeah, it really depends on how big these pieces are, frankly. I mean, if we're talking about something that's 2-3 feet long, you're gonna need a different tool than something that's super small and just like handheld thing. Obviously, to use an edge sander, it's not going to work so well as something that's bigger. So
like threaded inserts make me think decent size.
Yeah, like 3/4 inch ply something.
Yeah, like thicker.
We're gonna find out he needs to get a threaded insert into like 1/8 inch plywood. It's not working.
CA glue. That's the answer.
But Dan, what do you think about threaded inserts in there?
Yeah, I was talking about the sanding the edges, but yeah, we could jump to the.
Oh no, sorry, no. Finish up with the sanding.
As far as the threaded inserts, I would try to stick with the tenon guide, which is if you're going to make a tenon on a piece of wood, you want it to be 1/3 of the thickness of the piece of wood. So like if I'm making a tenon on a piece of wood that's 3/4 of an inch thick, I want the tenon to be no more than 1/4 inch. That gives it a 1/4 inch cheek on either side and a 1/4 inch tenon, which in turn would be a 1/4 inch mortise. So if I'm putting in an insert into a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, I don't want the threads to be a lot more than a 1/4 of an inch, so that it has a lot of wood to grab. Does that hopefully that makes sense?
Yeah, that does, because you want as much material in there as possible.
Yeah, if you get too close to the edge, I think Pete was talking about this a second ago, but not only can it like dig into the outer veneer, but it could also flail it a little bit,
like warp it out,
warp it, and it could screw up the thickness, the total thickness on the edge there. So something to be aware of.
So you want we're talking about, you probably want about as narrow of an insert as you can get, but as deep as you can get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So if I'm doing an insert on a 3/4 inch piece of wood, I would try to keep that insert to be like a 1/4 maybe 1/2 inch thick or 1/2 inch deep.
That's a good thought. I didn't think of the size of the insert. Yeah.
I really want to see these ice climbing tools.
I want to see them.
I want to know what I want to know what he's working on.
So edgy. So cool.
And telling us he's not going to tell us because it's so niche, like that's teasing. That's not nice. I don't like that. I want to know.
Well, Braden,
I'm betting it has something to do with weddings, but I don't know.
Oh, who knows?
Because that's quite the market.
Or crocheting, am I right?
Right.
Well, speaking of edging weddings and crocheting, Maker Camp.
Maker Camp.
We need to drop a super secret code phrase.
Got it.
Do you have one?
Ooh, Dan's always locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
You had me at cocked. Yes. The code phrase you need to send to us this week to awpgiveaway@gmail.com is Stranger CNC.
Ooh.
Send that to us in an email, and you will be entered to win a ticket to this year's Maker Camp 2024.
One of two tickets. 2 chances to win.
Oh yeah.
Uno of dos tickets.
Mhm.
Uno dos. I forget the actual dates. I think it's like October.
Second weekend of October.
Yeah. I have it
Which-
here, and I'm absolutely ready for the answers, and I'll
October
provide it now.
11th, October 11th, 12th, and 13th.
There you
There it
go. You beat me to it.
Oh man, I had it on the tip of my tongue.
The
There you
tip
go.
of the-
Send that to us.
The tongue,
Email
the teeth, the lips.
pwpgiveaway@gmail.com.
And the
Yo,
ticket we're giving
Ranger
away
CNC.
is a silver
It's a
pass?
silver weekend pass. It comes with a camp spot as well. So
boom.
Wow.
there you go. And it's we're gonna announce the winner either the last episode of August or the first one of September. So you'll still have time. You know, you can hold off and buying a ticket, and then if you don't win, you could still buy the ticket. They're gonna be available, but not all the way up until the event. They did sell out of some of them, I think, last year. So
Correct.
There's only so many makers you can fit in the woods in New York before
Yeah.
you just run out of woods.
not with that attitude.
But
There's a chance to win. All right, so we got a couple more questions. Let's just run through these real quick. The next one is from my favorite is Malcolm, and he is most definitely not in the middle.
hello there.
Hey guys, it's
Hello.
Malcolm, and I want to say hi to my friend Colton. Hey Colton, I would tell you that the podcast gets better, but I'm not really sure. It's kind of a crapshoot every week. Just hang in there. My question this week is for any of you with a 3D printer. I just got one, just started out. How do I price printing things for people that they're asking me to print? Not designing things, but usage of my printer to print stuff out and the cost of filament and everything. Okay, see you later, guys.
Bolton.
Colton.
Well,
Do you 3D print?
I don't. Only thing separating me from a 3D printer is $400 disposable cash. But I would say, as far as machines, like the most common thing I've heard is just time. Like find whatever time, whatever number you put to it. Like Braden, you talked about this before with the laser, right? Like if it's 15 minutes, it's X price, and then use that as a multiplier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Braden.
yeah, Braden.
I'm still working out my pricing on 3D printing stuff. I have a couple of products that I'm launching that are 3D printed, but I don't do enough of it, and certainly not enough like commission type work that I have that dialed in. I'm still at the point where I'm just like winging it price wise, especially the stuff at like craft fairs. I basically I don't look at the time. I look at what do I think the ceiling is that somebody will pay for this thing, and that's what I'm charging, and then I'm just adjusting. So I'm playing pretty fast and loose with my pricing right now a lot of the time. So I would love to just say that I do exactly what I do at the CNC and the laser, and I charge $1 to $1.50 a minute. But you do a 4-hour print, there's no way that somebody's going to spend $40 on a 3D printed this knickknack. So I'm trying to figure it out. I want to know what Pete does because he is a 3D printing boy.
So I'm going to take all of the guesswork out of it for you, Malcolm. The easiest thing to do is you literally just go to Google, Bing, Ask Jeeves, type in 3D printing price calculator, and it's a Prusa website. It's on their blog from Prusa. They make the printers, and it's you can actually even take your file if you have a file that you exported, upload it in here, and it'll calculate the time, the hours, and everything. But if you know it's going to be a 9-hour print, and you literally put in, I have a roll of this filament, it costs me $22. You can even add a markup if you want on it. You can literally even add like your kilowatt price for electricity for your printer, and even simple things that people forget about, like labor. Like if it takes you 5 minutes to prep and 5 minutes to post process the print, and your rate is $30 an hour, that's for those 10 minutes, that's $5 that you should be adding on to that product. So it's like when it's like, oh, it'll be $10, like, no, it's 15 plus shipping, 19. Like you need to start thinking about all this stuff. But you can even add on, just overall costs. Like some, we joke around, or not joke around, but when we talk about pricing your woodworking projects, we talk about 3 times cost plus 10%. You can literally slap on 10%. You can slap on tax on this, and it'll give you an actual price at the end, and you can use it as your price guide, and it just takes all the work out of it. That being said, I will also say, for anyone that gets a 3D printer, that maybe just follow the hype or they think I can monetize this, like, hey, you're also allowed to just have it and enjoy it. I just want to point that out to people. Sometimes it's fun to just have something to print cool stuff for yourself. You don't necessarily have to monetize it. If you want to, I fully endorse it. Yeah, like the scan you did. That was actually a really great one.
That's a good one.
Again, check out 3D printing price calculator from Prusa Research. It literally takes all the guesswork out of it. Dan, do you have anything to add?
Absolutely not. I have a 3D printer, haven't touched it in 2 months.
That's fine. It's your daughter's at this point.
Whatever Pete said, do that.
All right. Next question is from El Jefe from Maker's Way.
Ooh.
Please use the sexiest, ethnically, and sexually ambiguous voice for this question. I've been back in my shop full time for right at a year now. I'm finding it hard to get the motivation some days to get really going once I get in there. Looking for tips or advice on what you guys do to get them sweet, sweet juices flowing.
Oh, that timing was so much less uncomfortable. No, that was so much
sweet.
better.
Sweet juices.
Anyone that was in the
were
pre-show was
so
sweet.
bad.
Sweet juices flowing.
Oh my god.
So Dan, how do you get your sweet juices flowing?
Well, like I said earlier, and I really hate saying that in this context, but like having shop help.
Yeah,
helps
dude. Hire some
so
high schoolers.
freaking much. It is ridiculous. If you can't do that, man, throw on some music, throw on some hype music, some like music that get you going. Like this last week, I've been listening to the Eminem album. In weeks past, I'll listen to stuff like White Zombie, like stuff that is just like that just gets you your adrenaline pumping, whatever that is. And that so
Gets
music.
people going.
Music, it gets the people going. Yeah, so that's what I do.
It's provocative.
There we go.
Piotr, what do you think?
For me, anytime I get stuck, I just look around the shop or the house and I go, what needs fixing or improving or organizing? And I can use these tools to do it. So like a lot of times it'll be like, okay, well, I literally just like dropped 3 bottles of glue trying to get the one that I grab all the time. Like maybe I can organize that, build a shelf, build an organizer, build a little storage thing. Sometimes it's like I have this plane that just sits on a bench all the time. Maybe I can build a really nice plane tool for it that hangs on the French cleat wall. Like find a solution, just get creating, get making, get your brain working in the right mindset of like, I'm solving a problem. I'm figuring out all the steps of getting this thing done. Even if it's like a little plywood project or you got some scraps that you got going, or maybe you're just like, just honestly, we haven't talked about this in a while, but like go on Pinterest, just start scrolling through Pinterest, find some cool projects and just start making. Even if you have nothing to do in your shop, just be like, I got a CNC, I got this new bit to try out. You know what? I'm going to make like some ring dishes or whatever.
That's
Play around
that's how I came up with the Baltimore.
Yeah.
I was scrolling Pinterest and I found several tables that I liked and I just kind of mushed them together.
Find inspiration in the world. I mean, getting a buddy, a body double in the shop is huge because you can bounce ideas off of. I just work better with somebody around too. That's why I have Emma around all the time. But try to find inspiration in the things in your world that like you can just use your awesome skills to make something cool for. Or if you can't find that, go, or even like, Colton was talking about, you got those books. Look in a book, look in a magazine. Sometimes I'll look at my woodsmith shop printouts that I have from like college when I was learning woodworking. Like that, I'll look through those. So it's all, worth checking out. Braden, what do you think?
I am such a big fan of body doubling in just everything. So, and that's what I do in the shop. So, I mean, if I'm stuck somewhere, I'm lucky. I can just get Dan out there, or I can go visit Dan. But I'm a terrible millennial. I love talking on the phone. So I'll call a maker. Like I'll call somebody and I'll just chat. And while I'm doing that, I'm cleaning up the shop, or I am let's see, I'm building a new something to organize, although I'm not as good about that part. Everything is just a disaster in my shop, but like just getting people involved always helps me. And I've recognized that that's because I'm a golden retriever of a person. Like I feel like I have to be social. So, that's a big thing that I do. I like, kind of like what Dan and Pete said, I will just design something. I'll sit and I'll stare at like the laser, I'll stare at the CNC, and I'm like, man, I've got these really cool tools and I'm not doing something with them. I need to carve anything. Like I need to carve something. And
Been there, done that. Totally
yeah, and I started doing that, and that's kind of how I kind of came up with the hardwood, like phone charger valet trays that I've been making. Is Patrick makes a lot of them, and he does them, multi-layered, like laser carved ones. And I'm like, I could do that, and I'm just going to do it out of hardwood. I've got these Dan scraps, trademark.
Right.
What's literally the worst thing that could happen if I try this and it doesn't work is I have to go to Dan's to pick up a couple more scraps. Like I'm not out anything.
Exactly.
So like I'll just try new stuff, and I have a lot of fun doing that. Because again, there's no way I'm going to break these machines. Like they're designed to do way more than I do with them. So, I just wing it, and sometimes, this is the hardest part too, is sometimes you have to just leave the shop. Like, and I know that that's a lot harder for you, Jeff, because, you're full time and like you got to eat and that sort of thing. But sometimes you just need to get out of the shop, and you're going to find inspiration out in the real world. But there is such a thing as like cooping yourself up and trying to force something that's just not going to show up. So get out there, go talk to some people. I know you talk about being a quieter guy or being, kind of more introverted than you act, but go talk to some strangers.
Some strange on the streets.
Yeah,
go to a museum, get inspired. Yeah,
go to a local cafe and feel the underside of their table, see if they're finished, and just kind of go with that. But I'm surprised that this question's coming from him, because Jeff, I've seen some of your tables, like they are wildly creative. I love seeing your stuff. So, Colton, what do you do to get the juices flowing?
3 words: 80s hard rock.
Bro,
man, dude, jam it out.
Man.
Freaking montage in the shop, like it makes time fly. You feel like you're Rocky. Like sweating in the gray sweatsuit. Man, it's 80s hard rock, but also accountability from whether it's a high schooler or whoever does help. But sometimes that's expensive to have someone sit in your shop.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not cheap.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just want to point out that the dude with the mullet is into the 80s music. How perfect is that?
I didn't see it coming, honestly.
I fully agree. I fully endorse that. That's great.
Yeah, dude. That's the name of the playlist. It's on Spotify. Yeah, 80s hard rock.
The mullet? Oh,
is that your playlist, or is that just a playlist out there?
That's just a playlist out there.
Oh, I'm totally searching for that tomorrow.
Welcome to 96.1 The Mullets.
Dan, what was the banger playlist you played in California?
You talking about yacht? You talking about yacht rock?
Yacht
rock. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
that was on point.
I mean, that's not hard rock, but that's
no.
a great playlist.
But that's a throwback, and it was fire the whole time we're there.
Yeah. We've listened to that on the lake. Yeah.
One of my favorite playlists is just the dive bar. I got that from Nick Brim.
Oh, yeah, I love the dive bar one.
Oh, I have not known that. I'm gonna write
what if there's like a pontoon boat one? If it's a little
actually,
trashy,
yes,
that
was my next suggestion.
Really?
Another playlist that I like on Spotify and Apple. It's the same playlist. It's called the Sandbar.
Sandbar.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if you go with the wrong pontoon one, you may get some of that country rap that you're hating on so heavily.
It's just the sandbar is a little country, twangy, beachy type stuff. It's like Kenny Chesney and like
It's like Applebee's on a date night.
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's in there.
Y'all watch it. I love me some Kenny Ches.
I love the
you,
Sandbar.
you got to
That's
be
a great
careful though.
playlist.
You find the wrong pontoon playlist. It's just the song pontoon on
Pontoon?
repeat for
Yeah.
47
Yeah.
hours.
That's
On
not
the
an awful song, but I don't know if I could
pontoon.
listen to it more than 4
Yeah,
or
I could
5
do it maybe
It's
once
not-
a day, maybe
Yeah.
twice.
It's not an awful song, but it's like after the third hour straight of it, it's basically a CIA torture technique.
Have you guys
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
guys heard that bit by John Mullally?
Oh yeah, no,
Mulaney.
John Mulaney.
Where he talks about he goes to the Salt and Pepper Diner and they
Yes.
play Tom Jones What's New Pussycat,
Pussycat,
like
yeah.
11 times.
Yes, yes.
It's one of
I
the
know what you're talking
greatest comedic bits ever.
But then you work in one of the other song, and then you go back to
one
give people
what's,
hope.
what's Tom
Yeah, you
Jones's
gotta give
other
him the
famous
hope.
song? Oh man, now I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. All
It's
right,
Tom Jones.
Let's reminisce, puppy dog.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, that's a great bit.
All right, let's get into the last question then. This one's from, I believe, from Victor.
Boy, I can't count.
Hey
'cause I
guys,
thought we were done.
Victor here from Whim Designs. I just had a couple of questions. My first question is, I'd like to sell items on Etsy, whether it be regular items or digital files. And I was wondering, can I get away with just starting with one, or should I have more than one? Thoughts on that? My second question is, I noticed on my Patreon account for AWP this month, it seemed to be a little bit higher, and I was just curious. Said something about rubber tax. Dan, do you know anything about that? Maybe tires or something? I don't know. Okay. Have fun, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
I'll answer
Dan-
his last question first. The rubber, that's me. We're not having any more kids, so that was the tax.
And
We
it's a
can't-
surcharge, not a tax.
Yeah,
Surcharge.
we legally can't call it a tax. It's technically a shipping and handling fee. It's a lot of handling.
That's a minuscule amount of handling. If
Oh my god.
yeah, just saying.
Dan, you're the resident Etsy boss.
Yeah.
Mafia Don here. What do you think?
Yo, just starting is the hardest part. Even if that's just one listing, get something out there. What I like to tell people is nobody's going to buy it if it's not out there to buy. So get something up there. You don't worry about having multiple listings. Just get a listing. Start with something. People can't buy it if it's not available to buy. So
Yeah,
there you go.
You literally can't open a shop without a listing.
Yep,
right.
100%.
And so people say the same thing about like running like a social media page, right? Like just start posting. And I think the biggest part of that is that you're going to adapt and learn what does well, what responds well, and what doesn't. And yeah, you can't start if you don't start. Dang it, that was going to sound really cool, but it didn't.
It sounded great in your
Sounded
head.
very cool.
Oh, there we go.
You can't stop until you start stopping.
Stop. You stop starting. Stop not starting. Stop starting. Yeah. I don't know.
The genius mind of Colton, right there.
There we go.
There it is,
Yep.
in a nutshell.
Dan, anything else that you'd recommend?
No, I got nothing else. I mean, I think that's the only thing you need to worry about is just get something up there.
Is there anything about descriptions, maybe like titles?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been leaning hard into AI, Chat GPT, Ask AI, what have you, for product descriptions. As far as like what I'm naming my tables, I've been asking these yahoos what I should name my tables, and that's how they came up with the Baltimore. So if that's a failure, I'm going to blame them, and they're going to hear from my lawyers for sure.
When he asks us, he's asking not AI. Like there's no intelligence here. It's all artificial.
Braden, do you have any sage advice?
Oh, not
Victor?
definitely not sage, maybe a little rosemary. No,
I'll
yeah,
just
I
take
mean
garlic if you got it.
Oh God, I love garlic so much. Yeah, I mean just do it. I mean, one listing is better than no listings. You can't sell what you don't have up. every marathon starts with a single step. I mean, we could say this 100 different ways, but you got to start somewhere. So yeah, just go for it. That's where I'm at. So
Nice.
Yeah. Your first one's not going to be perfect at all.
yeah,
Just put it out there and like the
That's what I
descriptions, all
told
that
my
stuff.
firstborn child. Oh, you're
Yeah,
not perfect.
That's a
You're
practice kit. Yeah, she's a practice kit.
you've always got a second listing to get it
Yeah.
right the real way.
Yeah, this one's gonna get real dented. I know, but the next one's gonna be solid.
Practice kid, practice marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
All that.
here's the thing: just because you put something half-ass up doesn't mean that it's gonna stay that way. You
Well,
can add better
I'm not
photos.
saying
No.
don't half-ass the project.
But like, if you're throwing something up there and you just kind of like, no, I want to polish it. I want to hold the whole album of things to throw up. Like, it's okay to just throw one thing up there, have more photos eventually down the line, maybe refine some stuff, add an additional file, maybe a PDF, refine a description, like play around with it. You're not done. Like, just get some products up there. Absolutely.
What I've done in the past is, or in the present, whatever. So I've sold a bunch of stuff on Etsy. I think I'm up to like 6,800 sales or something like that, which is toot my own horn here a little bit. In that time, I have had a lot of different customers send me pictures of their product in use. And if those pictures are good, I will add them to the Etsy listing with their approval.
Great thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So the more you sell, the more opportunity you're going to have to update those photos.
They're like your content creators. Like you're giving them
and then
exposure.
I'll throw them like a discount coupon or something like that.
We should do a Dan's ambassador program. Yeah.
Only Dan's.
I'm a Dan-fluencer.
Only Dan's?
Only Dan's. It's a thing.
Oh, that's good. Man, so I'm team website. Like, you get to control everything. It's harder to push people to it, right? I do understand that there's a good like already marketing thing built into Etsy, right?
Yeah, there's a good amount of SEO built into Etsy, which is what draw people to it.
Exactly. Yeah, when you do the website, you got to go in and do all the back end as far as SEO stuff, especially. But I don't know. I like being off Etsy because I can control everything. And no, I'm not a control freak, but
we all are.
I don't have
in
to.
A way.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually I do end up still paying fees because I have to pay for the website monthly, right?
Yeah, but
and like all the apps I'm getting on there, but
I mean nothing's free.
I mean, I'm running both right now. Like I'll get stuff on Shopify and I get stuff on Etsy. It all depends.
It's like you said earlier when I asked you about how do you sell cornhole boards for $1,000, and you said I throw a wide net.
Yes,
you just got to throw a wide net, and that you could say that for everything. Throw a wide net on Etsy. Throw a wide net when you make your website. Throw a wide net on Shopify.
Yeah, exactly.
There's people buying full-on beds on Etsy, so there's somebody looking for some $1,000 cornhole boards.
Yeah. I never. Oh, I mean, yeah. I did have one Etsy listing once. I did a walnut ashtray. I tried to make like a cool like geometric design in the cigar ashtray, and I never followed up with it. And Etsy for some reason like blocked that account. I think I didn't like pay my fees or something. I'm really hoping that it wasn't because like I forgot about it and someone ordered something. I don't think they did.
Pay attention to their notifications. That's if you have a website or Etsy or whatever. If they or like keeps emailing you, it's probably important.
Listen, as long as the money shows up in the bank account, they'll get it when they get it.
I'm not gonna lie. When that first week hit after going viral and whatever, sold a bunch, I was like, I could just move to Mexico right now and like take this money. Not very morally straight, but I mean,
it was a thought.
I'd be lying if it didn't like cross my mind. But
what would you do if you had $1 million?
2 chicks at one time.
Guys, we have just we keep talking about like, hey, we need to make our episodes just a little bit shorter, like try and get back into.
I'm blaming Colton. Like he's just too good of a guest. I mean, that's his fault.
Have obliterated our chance of having like a somewhat reasonable episode I think it's probably time that we should probably thank our sponsors and our patrons and all that. We should probably start doing the actions and the motions.
I'm gonna
I
head up-
agree. I
Can I
agree.
get
Anything
house
else?
I think
audio for audiobooks?
we should go
I'm
for
gonna-
3.
I'm going to be the
And,
adult
Joe
in the
Rogan
room
experience.
here. Yeah, I'm going to be the adult in the room here and be like, hey, maybe it's time for bed. What?
Well, in that
what do you
case,
guys think?
thank you to Maker Camp for the sponsorship. Make sure to go check them out. There's a way you can win a ticket. Dan said a code phrase. I don't know. We want to drop it again?
Yeah, send the code phrase.
We're all mumbling now.
Send the code phrase Stranger CNC to awpgiveaway@gmail.com and you will get entered to win one of 2 tickets to Maker Camp this year, 2024.
And we'll be giving out
All
free
right.
hugs. And we also want to give a huge shout out to Hamilton Dilbeck and CNC with me for sponsoring this episode as well. Go check them out. They're currently running the Christmas in July event, so you can get hundreds of SVG files from Hamilton. There's a community rallied around all things CNC. Some great projects there. People brainstorming ideas and helping each other out. And of course, all of Hamilton's videos are on there as well for your viewing pleasure and learning. So
Right on.
thank you guys.
Just go to cncwithme.com and go get all the info you
Boom.
need over there.
CNCwithdan.com.
No,
CNC.
CNC with me.
Me.
Literally.
That is very confusing.
only to you, Braden.
Dude, it's
Here
got
we
a good
go.
rhyme to it. CNC
Yeah.
with me. Yeah.
You know, the other last thought that I'm going to leave is the next time we have a podcast, the next time we talk, Pete and Emma might not just be 2 anymore. What an exciting time we're at.
Yeah. I'm going to
I
be
love
so
seeing
tired.
the
We're definitely
fear
going to
in-
need to keep the episodes shorter because I'll be so tired.
The fear and panic in his eyes right now. Oh, I'm so
I don't know,
excited.
man. You may be looking for an escape.
I don't know.
Just
Well-
take all the money and go to Mexico.
Yeah, I could just go to Mexico right Do they have 220 in Mexico? Could I take my tools?
I think it's Dos
Do they use
Doce.
metric or imperial?
Yeah,
I don't
I'll
know.
just start a yes and yes business at CNC.
I see what you did there.
CNC.
I like it. I like it.
I like that so
very
much.
well.
Yeah. Those
Took me a
Ellis
sec.
Fagnall.
Shut
I
up,
don't know why
Siri.
Dan, who else would you want to thank? Maybe.
I want to thank all of our patrons.
Yeah.
You guys
Woo!
help us so much. You don't even know. If you want to help us, you can go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast and get signed up over there for one of our many tiers that we provide. And if you don't know, we do lots of extra content every week that you can get exclusively on Patreon.
And early.
We are thick
Wow.
with content.
Thick.
With 2 C's.
With two Z's.
Yuck. Like
Yeah.
a mouthful of peanut butter. Yeah.
All right, boys.
Well, it's a wrap. All right. Guys, thank you for joining us. We'll hopefully see you next week. Maybe we'll be taking a week off, 1 week, because the incident that is coming up. So
The accident.
the incident.
so guys, talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.
Miss you already. Bye.
Love you long time.